the afternoon, 45 on Wednesday. Wednesday night, New Year's Eve, partly cloudy 27, and Thursday, partly sunny 39. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
And welcome to the show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. Happy to be with you in St. Louis. Brad, welcome back. I don't know if I should be happy you're here or depressed that you came in for a couple of days on a week when you could have had the whole week off.
Well, you're depressed that I'm here? That doesn't sound very fun. I'm happy to be back.
I'm sad on your behalf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fairness, I looked at the schedule wrong, and I read it wrong and requested not enough days off. I should have requested the next 2 days off, and then I'd had a super long break. But I'm happy to be here with all of the Annie Fry Show listeners.
And if you're watching the live feed right now, know that Brad is wearing a nice new hoodie that he got for Christmas. It's very nice. No stains on it.
Fun fact, this is so for those of you listening that aren't watching the stream, it is a North Carolina blue hoodie. And my wife got it for me for Christmas. And I have no feelings toward North Carolina UNC in any way, shape, or form. But she really liked the color, so she got this for me. My pastor, however, is a huge Duke fan. And so whenever he sees me wearing this, he is going to be very like, what is this? That's not Duke blue. And I was like, well, I wouldn't wear Duke blue anyway.
Good. You have a YouTube poll up and running?
I do have a YouTube poll. Today's YouTube poll is, will anyone actually be prosecuted in the Minnesota fraud scandal? And we got three options here. Yes, the top players. That includes people like Tim Walz and anybody else in the highest echelons of government who might be found to be involved. The next option is yes, but not the top players. Nobody significant. Or then the last one is no one's going to get prosecuted on this.
It's so hard to tell what's going to happen, but every time I turn around, there's a new headline. New York Post has done a good job at bringing this out, and their top headline now, misspelled Minnesota daycare closed last week, state claims. On same day, owners told the Post it's up and running. Isn't that strange? Closed last week, running out of town. You think they're self-deporting right now or something? What do you think they're doing? Running from the law is the only explanation I can think of, knowing that their time is running out with all of the different investigations that are going on. And apparently it sounds like ICE was in town looking at all of these different sites where there was daycares taking millions of dollars, but perhaps no services were being rendered for that money. And it looks like the owners of that site, which have gotten up to $4 million in taxpayer funds and racked up dozens of inspection violations, didn't get the memo. That's the subplot there. I really don't know what's going to happen with the Minnesota. I think the best case scenario is resignations from high leaders that allowed for this sort of thing. I don't think there's going to be zero prosecution. I do think that we're going to find that there was a lot of high-ranking officials understood that there was fraud in the system. They've been reported for years. They look the other way and continue to advocate and fund, knowing it would be used for fraudulent purposes because of some sort of social justice aspect. Like, we have to be nice to the Somalian immigrants that are here. So this is our way of allowing them to get a special government handout specifically for them. It very much feels like that. So anyone that may have acted that way needs to be either resigned or, the threat of impeachment or even worse, threatened prosecution. Do you think anything will happen? I mean, that's a very good poll question, Brad.
Yeah, I do. I think that there are going to be prosecutions. I'm still on the fence about how high they will go up. Because whenever I look at this, one of the things that this is my mindset now, and I carry this mindset throughout all of these things. Because if you watch on Twitter, on X, there's always these when are we going to see people in handcuffs? When are we going to see perp walks? I don't want to see people in perp walks just for the sake of a perp walk. The Democrats did that with Donald Trump. They did the big raid, the thing on Mar-a-Lago. Then they ran through these show pony trials and these show trials. And it very much reminded me of like Soviet-style show trials. We're going to get these guys not for anything real, but just because they're on the opposite political side. I think that Tim Walz is a huge doofus. I think he's a gigantic doofus. But I'm also starting to think maybe there's something more to this. But I only want to see people in handcuffs if they actually can be linked to it and they actually did something wrong. I don't want to see them in handcuffs just for the sake of seeing them in handcuffs. I want real prosecutions with real charges, with real trials, and that sort of thing takes time. So this dropped, maybe a month ago? There's no way you're going to put together a rock-solid case in that amount of time.
No, but I mean, they're going door to door and they're not wasting time investigating. That's what should happen. Minnesota State Rep Kristen Robbins, she had some things to say about this.
I called for the governor to resign several weeks ago. I just think his dereliction of duty is unconscionable. These whistleblowers have been sounding the alarm for years. We've had hearings for almost a year now, holding his agencies accountable. He's not fired anyone. He's not taken steps to stop the fraud on the front end, and he continues to make excuses. So I would absolutely want him to resign, as I said weeks ago, or I know others are looking at articles of impeachment, but he is responsible. He has turned a blind eye for 7 years, and we need to clean house in the executive branch.
Yeah, and if you can't recover these billions of dollars, then absolutely the least you can do is resign. Ari Fleischer had an interesting way to look at this.
Question for Democrats in Minnesota is what's more important, winning the votes of a key Somali constituency or protecting $9 billion that belongs to all taxpayers? And it appears that for Governor Walz, for the Attorney General, Keith Ellison, for the Lieutenant Governor, their choice is to stand with the Somali community. Now, not everybody in the Somali community committed a crime. Not everybody is guilty of fraud. But you would think that their heart, their energy, the aggressiveness with which they react to this would be on the side of the taxpayers to fight fraud. And by the way, it's not going to be just in Minnesota where we find this. These types of scandals exist everywhere where the government gives out free money. Free money, subsidized Obamacare. You take a look at everywhere where the federal government puts its hand into the cookie jar to give money from one group to another, and that cookie jar is full of fraud. It's inevitable. And so it's not just Minnesota's Somali community. You're going to find this throughout America on almost every welfare program you can think of. It's just particularly bad in Minnesota, and Minnesota politicians are particularly dependent on the Somali community to get elected.
Cookie jar full of fraud. Is that like a 90s grunge band album? I think it could be. One other clip, and this is from ICE Director Todd Lyons. Let me see if I can bring this one up here. Okay.
ICE has been on the ground in Minnesota for a while now looking at these fraud claims. And one thing now the Homeland Security Investigation Special Agents are looking into is just that you said, that money trail of where this money is going to foreign aid. Obviously look at any type of links to any criminal activity, obviously terrorism activity. And one thing you will see is that ICE is actually out there going with criminal warrants to conduct these investigations. So all too often you hear that ICE is just out there terrorizing the community or conducting administrative work. We've been on the ground in Minnesota conducting criminal investigations, and Homeland Security investigations has gone door to door to a lot of these suspected fraud sites all over St. Paul and Minnesota, and we're learning a lot.
Here's the counterpoint to all of that, Brad. You just hate Somalians.
Just the ones that are committing fraud.
Is that the counterpoint you're going to start to have to defend? Like, no, you only do that because you hate those type of people, right? Because you're a racist, so that's why you have problems with them taking money. Is that about right? I think so. What was that?
That was music playing. So
is that from the system there?
We're good.
The last couple of days, talking about when you're out of town, we've been playing Christmas music on this show the last day, last Friday and on Monday. Yeah. So I guess they were copying the log over. So we were slipping in some Christmas music still. And I thought, oh my goodness. So James, our producer, on Friday, day after Christmas, I said, we can't have this. We got to do other holidays too. So we played Monster Mash on Friday too, just to even things out a little bit. So now you have a lot of people calling for accountability. I hope they take it seriously. But you see the next thing, the federal government looking at the HUD and saying there's even billions of dollars of fraud they're uncovering in that too. When you had Doge go through and look through the books and try to determine where some of this waste and abuse is, they came up with a lot of different options for you to start investigating. I don't even know if this stuff was on their radar, but it seems like the limited scope that Doge had was only the tip of the iceberg, and how much more could be cut and reprioritized to areas where they're actually needed. I think the thing that people in Minnesota really need to understand, man, they were cutting police force, they were cutting services because they were looked at as, mean guys doing mean things to other people that are undeserving of it. And they were cutting services that were helping to protect people while redirecting and finding ways to continue to fund fraudulent daycare centers that they knew were not operating. They knew were lying to them when filling out this paperwork. That money could have been used in so many other different ways, but instead it was collected by fraudsters, which ultimately they could leave the country. We can never see them again. I don't even know if it's possible to recover this money. So maybe it's better that we learned about it now than never, but how many other states do you think this happens?
Oh, I think it's all of them. I think to different levels there is fraud like this in all of the states. I think it's worse in states like what I think, was it Jason Rance you played earlier, said, where it's like where you can just get in and there's free money and there's not a lot of checks and everybody's like, look at how gracious we are. We're just giving this money out. That's where you're going to see the most. And that is going to be in blue states because that's where those programs are most prevalent.
Yeah, there was a guy that tried to replicate the journalism that went on in Minnesota, tried to replicate it in Columbus, Ohio, which I didn't realize Columbus, Ohio has the second largest concentration of Somali refugees. And he said, you know what, I bet you if we go around and look for some of these Somalian daycare centers, then I wonder if we'll find the same thing. You want to guess what he found? The same thing.
Same thing, yep.
Same thing. Interesting thing here, it was the one he went to was across the street from a business, and he saw some people that were watching him kind of like film and talking to a camera. And he said, hey, have you ever seen anyone inside this building? They said, never seen anyone in this building. It's been a ghost town. There's no even signs of life, and it's a daycare. If you think people are actively coming in, dropping their kids off, picking their kids up, you would see activity in a building like that. Not here. Do we have Jeff Monosso joining us in the next segment?
Yep.
That'd be great. Fantastic Fox News guest will be coming up. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. Don't go anywhere on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Retirement Advisory Group, you know the names, Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw. Call 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Or visit the Retirement Advisory Group online at retirementkey.com. If you're nearing retirement, if you're wondering how long your money is going to last, are you ready to retire? And you need to know if your money is ready for you to retire. The Retirement Advisory Group is helping people just like you who are on the cusp of retirement and wanting to do so with confidence, with peace of mind. Let the Retirement Advisory Group build you a personalized, structured income plan. They can show you how much income you're going to have in retirement, also how long your money is going to last, so that when you actually go into retirement, you do so with excitement and confidence about everything that is laying in front of you. 314-993-9494. Call the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. Online at retirementkey.com.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design, because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesiderd.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-939-1441. That's 800-939-1441.
Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Rooted in faith, grounded in family. We're back with more truth. This is the Annie Fry Show.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Ranker, filling in for Annie Fry. And it is a pleasure to be with you here today. Joining us now, Fox News Radio reporter Jeff Monosso. Happy New Year to you, sir.
It's good to talk to you.
I'm going to just give you a general observation. I don't know if this is in your scope of a reporter or not, but why can't the government work this efficient like they're doing in Minnesota right now? They sent people to the ground immediately. I want government to work like that all the time, where they're on top of something immediately as opposed to waiting a few years.
Whoa, Ryan! You're getting ahead of yourself because the state is now telling us that that they've done prior inspections of the centers that were mentioned in this Nick Shirley's independent report that's since gone viral. They said that it didn't uncover any fraud. That regulators are conducting additional unannounced visits to review concerns raised by the video. That they're aware the video is being circulated and it's gained local and national attention about child care centers in Minnesota. And then while they have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, they take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously. They go on to say that the state has not stopped any payments to any center or organization that was mentioned in this video. Meantime, Republicans and others are calling for Governor Tim Walz to resign. They say for failing to stop billions of dollars in fraud under his watch. There was a press conference yesterday. House Speaker Lisa Damoth, along with Republican reps, state senators, in a joint statement saying that Minnesotans have been watching the fraud crisis get worse and worse. There's been local reports about the same issue over the last several years, but the news cycle changes. People are busy; it goes away. This one had teeth with this independent report, and now everybody's talking about it. But Republican leaders, whistleblowers, say that the red flags were there; they were everywhere. Yet, year after year, the fraud kept growing. Year after year, nothing changed. Hundreds of whistleblowers have come forward to say that the state workers that they've been flagging this fraud, informing the Walz administration that nothing was done and that they were retaliated against. Much of their reporting came in 2024 when he was the vice presidential candidate for the Democrat Party. And so this fraud crisis is now exploding. We've been talking for weeks, Ryan, about other cases of fraud, but this viral expose from independent journalist Nick Shirley, he says shows fraud with Somali-run businesses and public service operations, including daycares, transportation services, and healthcare providers. You can see in the video he shows up during the day; nobody's there. But the state also says that the video in question, the Leering Center, that's supposed to be the Learning Center, but they misspelled the name on the sign. The Leering Center was closed. It closed a week prior to his reporting. However, many reporters, including our own, stopped by the same place yesterday, and there were kids inside. So not sure what's going on with that, but. We also reported a couple of weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, there was a press conference. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Minnesota says that of the $18 billion in Medicaid money spent in Minnesota since 2018 under Tim Walz's watch as governor on health care, autism, housing, and other government programs, that they believe $9 billion, maybe more, has been stolen, and what the U.S. attorney calls potentially the largest theft of taxpayer dollars in U.S. history. Rep. Tom Emmer, he's in the 6th District of Minnesota. They're out of Woodbury. He's the majority whip. He's issued a letter to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz demanding answers and immediate actions following that release, saying that the governor's had 7 years to the Attorney General, Keith Ellison. They've had years and years to uncover this evidence that an independent journalist uncovered in a day. The Department of Homeland Security is also now on the ground in Minnesota, specifically the Minneapolis area, saying that agents are now going door to door as part of a fraud crackdown, that agents are visiting suspected fraud sites. Pam Bondi says she's on it. There's been charges. There's been dozens of charges, mostly Somalians. And the Walz administration, they're out with another statement since this video was released. I think it's well over 100 million views by now. It's viral. The Walz administration says that it's released, that the governor's worked for years to crack down on fraud, that he's strengthened oversight, including launching investigations into facilities. So one of which was already closed. That was the Leering Center, which apparently is open again. And that the Walz administration contends that there's no evidence the fraud was rampant. On the accountability side, Ryan, there's a judge in Minnesota who's currently facing backlash. The Somali man was put on trial back in August for stealing $7 million in Medicaid funds. He had mansions, he had luxury cars, living a lavish lifestyle. He had a home overseas that was bought and paid for. Prosecutors contended with stolen taxpayer dollars. A jury convicted him. And then, after that conviction, Hennepin County Judge Sarah West, she overturned the conviction. She says that, well, the scale of the fraud was of great concern. These are her words. The state failed to prove that the man knowingly participated in fraud, and that the state relied substantially on circumstantial evidence. So he's free and clear.
Isn't that something?
And the jury,
nothing to see here stuff.
Right. And the jury foreperson says that all jurors are shocked. They said the evidence was there. It was omnipresent. It was obvious guilt. And it was based off their verdict, based off the evidence shown. But the judge thought otherwise, intervened, and said, you know what? He's not guilty. I'm going to rule him not guilty. And I really thank you for your service. I know that you convicted him. Your verdict was guilty, but I'm gonna go ahead and step in and say he wasn't guilty, and because she has an opinion that the state didn't have enough evidence. So some frustration there. We'll see what the feds do now that the story's exploding, and it's not just in Minnesota. It's all over the country now. With ties to political groups, there's donations that have been made to Somali candidates in other states from some of the groups listed. That are under investigation in Minnesota, and you're talking about buildings that kind of industrial storage locker type buildings that are supposed to house dozens of healthcare companies. You go in, and it's just I can't say that they're not healthcare companies, but they
don't look like it.
They don't look like it.
They don't look like it.
Much of this is alleged, and we'll see what happens. But the story certainly is it's got some teeth into the frustration of many taxpayers around the country.
Yep. Let me just ask you this: how long have you been a reporter?
I became a reporter on 9/11. I've went from DJ to reporter because we had a bunch of sister stations and news stations, and spinning the hits didn't mean anything to me after that day.
I get it. Well, I was looking at this Nick Shirley, and you mentioned him. He's someone that kind of got the ball rolling here. He's, I think, 23 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
And can I tell you how impressed I was with the videos he made? It was a 45-minute video, And he had documentation for each individual place, exactly how much money they received. He went to go see it firsthand. He did some real journalism there. That gave me some hope that there's some real active, independent journalists out there that are making differences. I was so impressed by him.
100%. And look, again, these are all allegations, but what he showed us is pretty damning, and we're hearing very little in terms of trying to the other side saying, look, no, this is all wrong. Even Tim Walz is saying you shouldn't be targeting the Somali community. His exact words, you shouldn't be targeting one community because white men commit as much fraud as any other group. This has nothing to do with white men. This has nothing to do. It just so happens that many of the accused in this case happen to be of the Somali community, and 75% of the population in Minnesota, we've now learned, are receiving government benefits. And I think one would hope that one way or the other that the powers that be get to the bottom of it, because that's a lot of money, and there's a lot of people that work really, really hard, and they're not living the lavish lifestyle.
That's right. Fox News Radio, Jeff Monosso, thank you so much for joining us, and appreciate the breakdown.
You bet, my friend. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Yeah, it seems like every time I go to a website, that's the top story the last couple of days, and there's been lots of updates to it. I should have known that Governor Walz would say, lay off the Somalis here. I didn't know that quote where, us white men are just as equally guilty in many ways, but we don't focus on that as much. I'll have to find that quote from Governor Walz, because that is just par for the course. It is predictable in so many unfortunate ways. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Andy Fry, 97.1 FM Talk.
HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. That's the website. If you have a foundation concern with your home, you want to fix it before it becomes an emergency. What do you need to look for when you're looking at the foundation of your basement? If you see bowing in the walls, when the walls curve inward due to external pressure from soil, shearing, which is a horizontal shift where the base of the wall remains stationary, but the upper portion shifts inward. Maybe tipping, which is where the top of the wall starts to lean inward, indicating severe external pressure and structural instability. These are three types of concerns that you might have for the foundation walls that you have in your home that need immediate attention. Of course, you need to go with somebody you can trust, and I'm excited to be able to tell you about Matt Hayes and Home Shield Foundation Repair. 314-227-9636. Call 314-227-9636 and contact Matt Hayes. Have him come out and assess your situation so you can get a solution in place ASAP. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Can you believe it's already the holiday season? While most people are thinking about lights and gift lists, a lot of homeowners are also wondering if now's the right time to sell or if they should wait until the new year. So I'm here with Gloria Liu from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, what should sellers be thinking about right now?
Great question. Even during the holidays, serious buyers are still out there, and with fewer homes on the market, sellers actually face less competition. When we get into the new year, listings start to spike and competition rises. But that's never a problem for my clients because I guarantee to sell your home at your price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. Whether you want to move now or after the holidays, we'll make it smooth and stress-free.
That's why Gloria Lou's the trusted choice for St. Louis home sellers. Call 314-325-6888 or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. From all of us, happy holidays, and here's to your next move being your best one.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Well, today's YouTube live chat poll is, will anyone actually be prosecuted in the Minnesota fraud scandal? Got 3 options. Yes, the top players. Yes, but not the top players, or no. So jump on Annie's YouTube page and vote in that poll. Also, tomorrow, Ryan Wiggins is back, and he's got a special treat for you. He has picked out the funniest moments of the year, and we're going to review those moments tomorrow. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow as well. The time is 12:33. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Midwest Made. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Whoa. I was just joking. I didn't realize it was him. Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. That is impressive. Okay. How much of the heavy lifting's on computer and AI with something like that?
Yeah. Rockmouth existed in a time that was before, auto-tune and AI and stuff like that. So that's legit Rockmouth right there.
Wow. Amazing. So can we recap the amount of fraud that's been detected in the past couple of weeks?
Yeah.
So fraud with the daycare, and it was a government program, these subsidies that they were receiving. Medical fraud, right? There's a pickup on that. Housing fraud. We've seen HUD Secretary Scott Turner come out with more instances of that. We had COVID fraud. We continue to see prosecutions on that. Am I missing any bits of fraud here? We did the medical fraud?
Medical fraud. We're just talking about Minnesota because, like you were saying, people started digging into other states. Ohio has had some stuff that is showing danger and stuff like that. So,
can we think of any other? So let me just say we can add to the list later. But can I just ask this? And I mean this honestly. We've had millions and literally billions with a B money ripped off over years where there's been no prosecutions. Are we really going to honestly say that there's zero chance of election fraud too? I mean, when you go state by state and everyone says we have elections have the highest integrity, there's no way any fraud has ever happened. If it does happen, it's at the smallest scale that doesn't make a difference, so don't worry about it. It ain't worth our time and effort. Why is it that across the board we detect billions of dollars of taxpayer money fraudulently being collected by people, but we can't accept the fact that there could also be fraud in elections?
I don't understand why people say that. I've never gotten that. I mean, going back to 2020, whenever the line was, this was the safest, most secure election in U.S. history. Timeout. You changed all the rules. You changed all the rules. You changed all the ways of doing things. You did all of these different ways, new ways of voting, and you're going to sit there and tell me just on the face, and I'm not even saying enough to sway the election, but on the face, the statement that is the most secure election in history is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There's no way that makes sense logically. There's just so many things that you couldn't have foreseen on how they would change or have enough time to develop good counter activities to secure elections in the little, 3 months that we had between whenever, Pennsylvania Supreme Court said, nope, we're going to change this no matter what. And you can't do anything about it, which in and of itself was not legal. But they just, you're telling me within 3 months you changed how you vote and then everything's going to be super secure? Not a chance. Not a chance. I am certain fraud is rampant.
So Why do they draw the line at election fraud and accept fraud everywhere else? So why is it election fraud's impossible to them, but everything else is a possibility?
Well, I think there's still people on a certain side of the aisle saying that there's no fraud here. There's nothing to see here.
Oh, we're just racist because Somalis are caught.
It's because of the color jersey you're wearing. You throw a blue jersey on, and it's like there's no fraud because those elections benefited us. And so if you say that there was fraud in those elections, then that calls into question whether or not you were legitimately elected. Same thing. If there is fraud in your state with healthcare, with housing and urban development, with daycares, whatever it is, if it's happening in a blue state, that reflects poorly on the Democrat Party. So people will then rally the troops, circle the wagons and say, no, nothing to see here. Everything's perfect, because you can't allow for there to be any sort of damage to the party. The party is over everything.
So let's go back to Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner. Here's him giving an update, too, on what's going on there.
You know, during the Biden administration, there were over 12 million illegal aliens that came over the border, straining our housing supply and making the costs go up. And so we worked with Secretary Noem at DHS, as you alluded to make sure that only American citizens are living in HUD-funded housing. We also took away FHA-backed mortgages from illegal aliens during the Biden administration. They turned a blind eye. But we're going to keep the law to make sure that these mortgages, which are backed by the taxpayer, go only to the American people. And lastly, we are mandating that every public housing authority give us a comprehensive account who's living in every unit in taxpayer HUD-funded housing.
So what do you think is going to happen there? So he wants some sort of receipts. He wants to make sure that everything's on the up and up. You think they're going to fight that? Probably. Or lie or not submit them to begin with.
I mean, the question is who's benefiting from it? You know, like if you don't have skin in the game, like I know I said it was about party, but it's also about the money. And if your party is benefiting from this fraud, and I'll give you an example, you know, you defraud the government, that money goes to you, and then next thing you know, you start making political donations to the party that's in power, and they're like, there's nothing to see here. They're covering. You're laundering taxpayer money to put into political parties.
Laundering is the right word. What's the other thing they were saying, that you can vouch for someone else to be a citizen, and that, what was it, 8 other people can vote with your vouching?
Yes. So was it Minnesota you could vouch for up to 8 people? So you say, yeah, like you can same-day register as long as you have a driver's license. If you're an illegal immigrant, you can get a driver's license in Minnesota without being a citizen. So you can same-day register, and then you can vouch for up to 8 different people who can then come in and register as well and vouch for other people.
Isn't that something? This pyramid scheme stuff. And what do you think is going to happen now? So we had deportations, we've had self-deportations, we have investigations, we have people that undoubtedly are going to be skipping town if they're afraid that the jig is up and they've been caught and they don't want to go to jail or have to repay the money. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of these false places shutting down, and they're going to try their best to leave and hope that they don't chase them somewhere else. Do you think that's going to be enough for a demographic change for the next elections in Minnesota? Or is that just nothing? It's a drop in the bucket. It's not going to play a factor.
Deportations, I think if anything, I think the only thing that'll make a difference in the next Minnesota elections is people's attitude and anger toward these sorts of things. If there's enough people that are mad, even the moderates, even the Democrats who are like, this isn't right, this is fraud, we're not, we don't want this, we want all of this gone, it will take them voting the other way. And then you can't manufacture enough votes. What was the phrase in 2024? Make it too big to rig.
No, okay. What about, too, I know this isn't Minnesota, I think this was Wisconsin, but you get these rogue judges, and Monosso brought up a fantastic example of a rogue judge caught red-handed, and the intent wasn't there, so we're just going to dismiss this. But, what about now the judge that was prosecuted, and rightfully so, for trying to harbor illegal aliens out of the courtroom while ICE was there looking for them, like to getting them out of the court building, I should say, rather. And
go ahead.
Was that Wisconsin?
I think that was.
Yeah. So, what do we do with the judges, the ones that are in these positions that say we need to be more sympathetic to fraud, or we need to be more sympathetic to the laws that we want to follow and or not want to follow, or they want to basically use the social justice aspect of it in order to try to right what they look at as a wrong as opposed to following the law. And that seems to happen more and more frequently anymore.
I hate that. I hate everything about that. I mean, the laws are the laws for a reason. The ultimate law of the land is the Constitution, but people write these laws for a reason, and it doesn't matter what your background is. That doesn't give you a right, because these crimes are not victimless crimes. The victims are the taxpayers of the United States, of these states. You're just saying, sorry guys, they get to rip you off because their background or their history or their whatever, and it wasn't fair, so we're going to make it unfair for you. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's so dumb, but they've justified it in their own mind that they are a good person because look how we're helping these people.
Right.
Unreal. Unreal.
Well, coming up after the break, there's lots going on around the world, and I know we're going to probably talk about this at some point again today. But in Mar-a-Lago, we had on Sunday Zelensky in town. There was a little bit of a press conference with that. But yesterday, we also had Benjamin Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago, and the president took a couple of opportunities to answer questions from media. And he talked about China, he talked about Venezuela, he talked about Iran. I mean, he talked about all kinds of stuff during this press conference because people were curious about it. And it just reminded me of how many different things we have our hands into right now in the United States. So maybe we'll take a peek at some of those things. Coming up after the break, I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Andy Fry on 97.1 FM.
January 24th at the Factory in Chesterfield. We are defunding the joke police. So grab your tickets at 971fmtalk.com/events, and I will see you in the loo.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come on and fly with me. Let's fly away.
It's nice. Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. And if you want to find me online at Ryan Recker on Twitter, we got the YouTube live chat poll going on. People voting in it, I hope, Brad. It'd be nice if they are.
Oh, yeah. Lots of people voting.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So you want to hear how President Trump handled some questions yesterday? Let me play this for you. So I don't know if you heard part of the press conference. He had media at Mar-a-Lago. And it was interesting. Before his meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, he did a quick wave to the media and said a few words. And at the end, he said, we're going to feed you. So if you guys want some food, we'll bring some food out for you, which I thought was kind of nice to hear the little behind the scenes there. Then he joked around, and then they left and they went to their meeting. But it sounded like the media was laughing and enjoying. It was different than the hostile media that you normally see at the White House. This is at Mar-a-Lago, a little bit different tone. So he comes back out. They talk about how the peace negotiations are going after the ceasefire and where that's progressing. But I think most people were curious about how these other entities are going to play out, including Iran. Let me play this for you here.
How close are we to another operation of Israel in Iran? You said before the meeting with Netanyahu that you are in support of Israel if the ballistic missile project will take on, and also the nuclear weapon. But after the meeting, after what you know from the intelligence, how close are we to another war with Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but Iran may be behaving badly. It hasn't been confirmed. But if it's confirmed, look, they know the consequences. Consequences will be very powerful, maybe more powerful than the last time. Yeah. And Iran should have made a deal the last time. I gave them the option. I said, you can make a deal. Do it. I told them, do it. And they didn't believe me. Now they believe me.
Do you have evidence that Iran is behaving badly? And what do you mean by that?
This is just what we hear. But usually... where there's smoke, there's fire. Have you heard the expression?
But what do you mean related to the nuclear capability?
Well, no, I'm hearing that they're not nuclear yet, but maybe nuclear too. The sites were obliterated, but they're looking at other sites. That's what I've heard. They're looking. So it'll take a long time.
All right. So I have two more clips of Donald Trump talking about Iran, but there's a moment in here where he essentially does a yippee-ki-yay moment with... It was, I don't know how else to explain it. He sounded like a cowboy. And I thought if they were to, like, I understand that after he's out of office, there's going to be movies and there's going to be depictions of him that will not be favorable to Donald Trump. But if there was one that was favorable, this line would be in it. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe this is it. This is more of them talking about Iran.
And speaking of Iran, I hope they're not trying to build up again, because if they are, we're going to have no choice but very quickly to eradicate that buildup. So I hope Iran is not trying to build up, as I've been reading, that they're building up weapons and other things. And if they are, they're not using the sites that we obliterated, but they're using possibly different sites. We know exactly where they're going, what they're doing. And I hope they're not doing it because we don't want to waste the fuel on a B-2. It's a 37-hour trip. Both ways. I don't want to waste a lot of fuel.
Okay, well, that wasn't it, but that's a good one, too. Okay, I think this is the one. So he trash talks Iran in one of them. He's like, you guys are vicious. He's like, your economy sucks. Your dollar is nothing. You're getting nothing done. Your people are angry. He's like trash talking them in part of this.
Iranian regime. I'm not going to talk about overthrow of a regime. It's, they've got a lot of problems in Iran. They have tremendous inflation. Their economy is bust. Their economy is no good. And I know that people aren't so happy, but don't forget, every time they have a riot or somebody forms a group, little or big, they start shooting people. You know, they kill people. And the people tend to... I've watched this for years. There's tremendous discontent. They form 100,000, 200,000 people. All of a sudden, people start getting shot. And that group disbands pretty quickly. So I've watched it for years. They're vicious, vicious people, yeah.
Trash talking Iran. I love it. Their dollars, their economy sucks. Their money is worth nothing. They're vicious people. I love it. Okay, that wasn't it either. This is probably it. I think this is where the line is, where he's talking about China and doing military drills.
China. So China has been doing naval exercises basically to test encircling Taiwan. Can you explain to us what your knowledge is of that? What do you think about that? Have you had any discussions with China about that?
Relationship with President Xi, and he hasn't told me anything about it. I certainly have seen it, but he hasn't told me anything about it, and I don't believe he's going to be doing it.
Okay, here's the moment.
No, nothing worries me. Nothing.
She goes, are you worried?
Does it worry
No, nothing worries me. Nothing.
Nothing worries me. Nothing. What a line. I love that. Moments like that, there's times where you look at President Trump and say, why'd he do that? And then there's times like this and you're like, right on, man, because that's how you handle a situation like that. I'll go back to Christmas where he's like, Merry Christmas to all you losers that didn't vote for me, or what was the tweet? It was something along those lines.
I don't have
and
it in front
same
of me,
thing with the Rob Reiner. In poor taste. You don't have to tweet about that if you didn't like Rob Reiner. But afterwards, we're looking at him in handling China, Iran, Venezuela, and also the war between Ukraine and Russia. There's all of these different conflicts that are going on across the world that he has a part in ending and stabilizing. And they ask, are you worried? No. Do I look worried? Kind of like the Jordan Binnington. Do I look worried? I'm not worried. Nothing worries me. That's the line that they would put in the trailer, I would hope. So he's got a lot to deal with right now, and it's the end of the year. He's trying to wrap up the year strong, it looks like.
Yep.
You think he'll do it? You think that all these things will be wrapped up with a nice little bow? Do you think he has the capabilities of getting a flawless victory, bat 1,000, and try to wrap up all these things by the end of his term?
By the end of his term, I think he's got a good shot at it. By the end of this year, no. That's tomorrow.
We got a date, right? At the end.
Hey, stranger
There's
things have
not enough
happened,
there.
but yeah. We have Jim Carafano on a lot, and one of the things that he always says about like negotiations with Russia, like what they want is always one more thing than what you're willing to give.
Yeah.
And so like these peace negotiations aren't going to be fast. It was a mistake of Trump's to say I'd have that done in one day or whatever he said. But
Right.
still, he's talking to both sides and he's working through the peace process, and he is making progress on this stuff. So we're heading in the right direction. So I think probably before the midterms, if I had to guess.
So let's say Ukraine signs on. They agree to the U.S.'s terms. Russia doesn't. So Ukraine plays ball. Russia doesn't play ball. For me, I look at it and say, we just want to be done with this. We don't want this to go on forever. And it's not our conflict that we should have a bunch of interest in. So that's why it's in our best interest for this to end and be over with it. But what happens if one of the sides that you are friendly to and have supplied defense for agrees to your terms, but the other side doesn't? Does that mean you're obligated to keep supporting them because at least they've held up their side of the bargain? That's what I fear, because I don't want this to keep going forever.
Yeah.
Don't want it. There's a lot going on in the world. It's the end of the year. This should be the quiet week. We should be winding down. There shouldn't be any major stories. And here the president's got to continue to work day in and day out, not take a break. Remember the last couple of years with Joe Biden? He would be long sleeping or laying on the beach right about now. There would be zero anything going on with the government.
Yeah, the beach in Delaware.
Yeah. Well, anywhere he can go, he'll find a beach to lay down on in a nice ice cream shop that just happens to be open.
What type of ice cream did you get? Chocolate chip. That was a real thing. Like, that was the hard-hitting questions that he got.
Yep. And then every once in a while, like early on when he was capable of sitting on a bicycle, he'd fall over on it. But then definitely now, I don't think he's getting on any bicycle anymore. So coming up after the break, Scott Jennings had some interesting things to say, and I haven't listened to his radio show yet. Have you? And he just started this new radio show. I'm kind of curious how it plays out.
We actually carry him here on the station.
No way. I didn't know that. Weekend show? This is Salem Radio? I'm going to have to give it a listen. I'm glad you said that. He mentioned something on the radio show about promises filled by Donald Trump. We'll talk about that coming up. 97.1 FM Talk.
I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near.
Hey everyone, this is Sarah from Fantagram, and I am here speaking out about mental illness and the seriousness of this disease in hopes that we can overcome the stigma surrounding it. Last year, my sister committed suicide after her lifelong battle with depression and anxiety. There has been a stigma in our culture surrounding mental illness and suicide. This stigma can lead to discrimination and negative stereotyping, which makes it harder for the ones who are suffering to reach out. But it's okay to not feel okay, and it's okay to get help. We can all help by listening to people around us encouraging friends and family who are struggling to talk to either us or professional counselors. We all need to help instill courage in others facing these challenges. And I'm listening.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
You know, there's a certain way we do things around here, the Grasser way.
The Grasser way?
We don't cut corners and we don't take shortcuts. Not on the little stuff and not on the big stuff.
We do the big stuff.
That's right. Whole home generators that kick on the moment the grid gives up. Lights stay on, heat stays on, your family stays safe. So your house stays warm.
And your ice cream stays frozen.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Tis the season, and Quick Trip is turning your phone into the gift that keeps on giving, and giving, and giving. With QT's Holidays. From now till the end of the season, when you open the QT app, you'll automatically get one free gift per day. We're talking classic QT treats like coffee, pizza, or donuts, ready to make your taste buds sing carols of joy. Plus exclusive deals from your favorite brands. With a new surprise waiting for you every day, your phone will be stuffed with more treats than your stocking. QT's Holidays. Open the QT app for your daily gift.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you feel embarrassed, trapped, maybe even ashamed just because you own a timeshare? Well, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Chuck McDowell here, the timeshare cancellation guy. I get over 3,000 complaints a week from all kinds of folks that feel the same way you do. Honest people, teachers, veterans, grandparents, all losing sleep over a timeshare they can't get rid of. That's why 15 years ago, I founded Wesley Financial Group to help people take their lives back. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we would want our own family to be treated. That mindset has helped us cancel over 50,000 timeshares from people just like you. So if you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-981-4455. That's 800-981-4455. 800-981-4455.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Smoke on the water. I'm Therese Crowley, Fox News. The U.S. military back to striking drug boats, first hitting the dock in Venezuela, where President Trump says drugs were being loaded. Then U.S. Southern Command blew a suspected narco-terror drug boat out of the water in the Eastern Pacific. 2 fatalities, ending a Christmas pause that began December 22nd.
U.S. Southern Command struck another alleged drug boat in the Eastern Pacific yesterday, marking at least the 30th strike since September 2nd. U.S. officials say 2 men were killed. The U.S. has conducted most of its operation in international waters, from targeting boats that they say are carrying drugs to seizing oil tankers. But it appears the U.S. has conducted the first known land strike in Venezuela. The president giving more details about something he first mentioned last week in a radio interview, saying they hit a facility where ships come from. The president did not say whether the strike was conducted by the military or the CIA.
Southcom says this is boat strike number 30, lethal for at least 106 narco-terrorists. President Trump at Mar-a-Lago met with Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu to shore up the Gaza peace plan with Hamas.
If they don't disarm as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, likely the last world leader that President Trump will be meeting with this year after their meeting yesterday at Mar-a-Lago. And yesterday, Trump was asked if he would support Israeli strikes on Iran's ballistic missile or nuclear programs.
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast. Okay? One will be yes, absolutely. The other was, we'll do it immediately.
Netanyahu is the second world leader to visit the Winter White House in Palm Beach in as many days. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visiting Sunday. And some eyebrows were raised when President Trump said Putin wants Ukraine to succeed.
America is listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Ted
Men athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. You are the fittest of the fit. Only one of you will leave here with an iFit contract for $250,000.
This is when mindset comes in.
Someone will be eliminated.
Pressure is coming down.
Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The good news, a little less wind as we go through our Tuesday afternoon. A mix of clouds and sunshine, 35 for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, breezy, 21. Wednesday, partly sunny, cold start, but not too bad in the afternoon, 45 on Wednesday. Wednesday night, New Year's Eve, partly cloudy, 27, and Thursday, partly sunny, 39. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If your furnace breaks down, call Air Comfort Service for a $99 service call. And don't forget, if your furnace breaks, even on a holiday, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency service. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ring.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For the sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back. I wanted to bring up a topic that Scott Jennings brought up, and he said that the biggest promise fulfilled of the first year of Trump's second term was immigration reform. Would you say that's his number one? If you were to take a list of things that Donald Trump succeeded at over the past year, would the immigration be one?
Oh, for sure.
Think so?
Yeah. More deportations than the previous administration, less people coming across the border, almost stopped. He didn't need a new law to do it. He just
That's a big one.
enforced the laws that are on the books. So the problem isn't growing. It's also being reduced. Now, I know people want more and faster, but I mean, it's going in the right direction.
So much so that if he tries and catches you trying to bring in drugs, he'll bomb your boat. Like we're talking serious control over what comes into the United States. Would you say that is even more significant than the economy, the big beautiful bill, and the things that we're going to see coming forward with it? So if you think about what's going to come in 2026, you have less taxes, especially for people that make under $200,000 a year. You have no tax on tips, Social Security, no taxes in that sense. You're going to see some tax credits kick in, the potential of this tariff boost check, which I'm not convinced is actually going to happen, nor do I think it should happen, but still. So when you see these things and interest rates continuing to lower, you're going to see a boost in the economy. Your payroll taxes are going to be coming down too, so you're going to see more coming in. A lot of these things they're talking about, we're going to see economic growth boom, maybe upwards of 5%. That's huge. So all these things that he laid the ground with when it comes to the economy, we haven't seen that yet. Maybe that's why that's not number one.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, if you think about year one immigration, year two economy booming, that is a 1-2 punch that, I mean, seriously, that is going to look good during the midterms.
Well, I was going to say, and then when the economy starts booming, so when it hits, when these things start taking effect, if people are going to the polls feeling good about their pocketbooks, it's going to be a wipeout for Republicans.
Yeah, I think so. And it was going to be a wipeout leading into that election in 2020 until COVID hit, and then that changed everything. Everything was looking good and up until that moment. So I think Scott Jennings right here. There's something else that Scott Jennings brought up. Let me play this for you.
Surprising story was, I would say, Marjorie Taylor Greene becomes not just a Trump critic, but
MTG becomes a lib. I mean, that's what happened this year.
Yeah.
She got a little bit out of shape because the president wouldn't support her for a statewide office in Georgia, which she was going to lose if she had gotten into it, by the way. And so she goes off the deep end. Look, I don't think these divisions and all this fraying are as big a deal as some people make it out to be. Trump is still extraordinarily popular among Republicans. He's the strongest party boss in the modern era. And he can get his allies in Congress to do most anything he wants them to do, which is why I think in the coming year, they really ought to spend some time trying to codify, to Rick's point, his executive orders and some of the other initiatives that he's had. Really try to make it stick and really fight it out, because I think a lot of the things he did would actually be pretty popular political debates to have. And so why not spend a little time on that?
Okay, so he mentioned at the start of that, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know what your thoughts are on her. Controversial, to say the least.
Yeah.
She had some other quotes come out, and she said something, and I wanted to basically give you the gist of it. She said President Trump lacks religious beliefs, meaning that he doesn't really have any faith. Do you believe that?
If you would have asked me,
tell.
I was going to say, if you would have asked me in his first administration, I would be more apt to go along with that. But this one, no, I think there's something different here. I don't know what kind of rock solid, biblically grounded faith that he has, but it's more than nothing.
Okay. I think that sometimes you can say, does it matter? I mean, for his soul, yes, but him being friendly to religious freedoms, showing up at like the March to Life and rallying people together behind faith, defending Christians in other countries that are being persecuted. He has been the most Christian-friendly president I can think of, any of them. And Joe Biden was like a devout Catholic. And Donald Trump is more friendly to Catholics and Christians than Joe Biden has ever been in his entire life. So even if he doesn't have faith, I would say, well, for his own soul, he should, honestly look into that. But on the other side of it, when it comes to everyone else, there isn't anyone, I think, that I can think of that has actually been more friendly when it comes to religious freedoms.
No, he is definitely not. He doesn't have any animosity toward faith whatsoever. I think he admires it. I think he likes it. I think that, like I said, I don't think that he's the most perfect devout Christian, but then again, who is? And I can't know his heart completely. So, like, to sit there and say, oh, he's no Christian, I can't say that. I just can look at him and say I see an imperfect person.
Yeah. Do you think this is more like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that? This is a more reflection on her than anything else? You think this is like her projecting?
I think it's sour grapes.
Think so?
Oh, yeah.
Coming out
so,
and doing that.
Like Scott Jennings mentions in that post that she wanted a statewide office, which I think she wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. And Trump shared some polling. This is what the story is that Trump shared some polling saying that you aren't going to do well. And she didn't like that he didn't throw himself completely behind it. And so she thought, I'll show him, and then it didn't work. And so she's left with what she's got now.
Yeah. Do you think her going on The View, like when I saw that, I said, it's dead to me. She's dead to me.
Yeah, for sure. Because all it is at that point is like, I'm just trying to change my perception because I have burned the capital that I have with Republicans, with the MAGA movement. I've burned all that capital. I burnt it to the ground. And it was really what? I mean, she did a good job as a representative, and she wanted more, and she just didn't have it.
So if you look at kind of departing from the party, you have like a Liz Cheney comes to mind, rejected all across the board. People, I mean, and who's the representative? Was it Amash Kinzinger? There, Amash, to an extent.
Justin
Kinzinger's,
Justin Amash or something like that. He was the libertarian from Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kinzinger, that's another one. She's going a different route. Do you think that the left will embrace her as in, come on over? Like the View seem to think that's what's going to happen. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, they'll give her belly rubs as long as she is like anti-Trump. They
belly rubs?
Yeah, they will coddle her and do that. The moment she isn't useful to them anymore, straight to the curb. Because they don't, like, Adam Kinzinger went after Trump hard. He was part of the January 6th Select Committee and all that other stuff. And how did the Democrats reward him for doing that? They redrew his district, and he wasn't a representative anymore. I don't understand this. Why do you go running to you are not principled at that point. You can be principled and be not like what Donald Trump is doing. But if you're principled, like if you say you're a principled conservative, I don't like what Donald Trump is doing, you as a principled conservative cannot then stand and say, I want to ally myself with the Democrats because they are principled conservatives. That is ridiculous. What you have to do is be prepared to stand on your own. And the ones that will stand on their own, and I think Amash is a good example of this. He's a libertarian, but he hasn't like thrown his lot in with the Democrats.
No.
He just said, I don't want to be part of that anymore, and he backed out. But he's principled. He stands on it. If something happens with Massey, I can see Massey doing the same thing, where he's like, I don't want to be part of that, but I'm not going to be part of that either.
Yeah.
But like Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's like, I'm principled. I can't do this. I'm going to throw my lot in with the Democrats, who are against everything that is conservative out there.
Yep. I know we got a couple of minutes. I was going to play this clip. I think it was on CNN where it was a GOP strategist, and they had some advice for other Democrats because they said they were looking at Donald Trump the wrong way.
I'd also caution folks here because, so often we've started to see people talk about Donald Trump as a lame duck president. Stop that. Donald Trump, we know, we've said so many times, he defies the laws of political gravity. He's not like any other president. So why would this one thing make him like any other president? He's never going to go gracefully into that good night. We know that. He's going to do that whether he's a candidate or not. And so the only time when I would say that Donald Trump would be a lame duck president is after the elections from,
All right, I'll stop just for the sake of time, pause it there. So a little bit of advice they said, don't count him out ever. But do you think that is what it's going to be like? He's going to get towards the end of his term, and he's going to try to grab onto power and refuse to give it up. Do you believe that?
No. Nope. I don't
know.
Like everybody points at January 6th, like this is what he wanted.
Right.
That man felt like he was robbed of his election. Whether or not you agree that he was actually robbed, that was he legitimately felt like he was cheated out of winning that. And so his response was to have rallies, to pull the levers of power in courts and take advantage of everything that was available to him legally, because he's not been prosecuted on any of it. Or not been convicted on any of it. All of it is legally. He was in the clear. He was doing legal things to try to make sure that he wasn't being ripped off. That's not anti-American. That's not anti-democracy. That's not anti any of that. That's actually pro all of that because he was doing it the legal way. So, like at this one, he's done. He doesn't have any more term left. I think he walks away. After putting the crown on somebody else's head, selecting, handpicking whoever his successor is, and he walks away. And hopefully he walks away like, look what I left you guys. It's great, isn't it?
Yep. I hope that's what he's trying to set up. I think he's trying to get as much as he humanly can done while he's still on this planet because no one lasts forever. It's his last time in power like this. A lot of presidents, when they get to leave office, they get to enjoy the rest of their life after that. But, man, it seems like he's trying to set up like as much as he possibly can, knowing that no one's here forever. So he's, all things considered, he's doing a remarkable job at it. When we come back, there's a few different other stories. And do you know this whole Tyler Chase thing that's happening, the former child actor that's back on the streets? I want to talk about that briefly, and I want to look at it in a different way and get your thoughts on it coming up. I'm Ryan Renker, filling in for Annie Fry on 97.1 FM Talk.
That's the price you pay. Leave behind your heart and cast away.
You know that feeling you have when you look at the forecast and you see that rain is coming and it's going to be around for a while. Your basement is the issue at hand. It gets wetness, it's got moisture in it, and you need to solve this problem. Enter Home Shield Foundation Repair. Matt Hayes and Home Shield Foundation Repair at the phone call at 314-227-9636. That's 314-227-9636. Can come to your home and look at your basement and give you a solution. They have a comprehensive system that includes advanced drain tile installation that effectively manages and directs water away from your home's foundation, can prevent leaks, seepage, and flooding, that they can implement into your home and solve this problem for you once and for all. So when you tune into the forecast and you see rain, you can rest easy. This system also comes with a lifetime warranty. You can trust Home Shield Foundation Repair. Give them a call at 314-227-9636. Find them online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of, and fact check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This holiday season, when you get them STIHL, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit stihlusa.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from STIHL. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Range. It's the Annie Fry Show.
I'm a grumpy old man. Can I mention this, Brad? I think the Avatar movies are the dumbest movies. I think the Dune franchise are the dumbest movies. They're all the dumbest.
Are you talking?
I hate them all.
The Blue Aliens Avatar movies, not the Airbender Avatars.
Right, the Blue Aliens, the one that just came out, the third one, I think. I saw the first one. I thought it was so lame and stupid and long. And every time they put out a new movie, it makes $1 billion. And I think, why does anyone like this?
I remember when the first one came out, the original came out in theaters, and I thought that was visually stunning. To me, it was kind of neat because of the way they did the 3D there. Up until that point, my experience with 3D movies has always been that the things jump out at you. But they used the 3D to create depth within the movie, and I thought that was amazing. But then, after that, I was like, that was a great story, but that was Dances with Wolves in space.
Okay.
And it's over. It's done. They won. We don't need any more. And, I saw The Way of Water, and I'm not going to watch the last one unless it's on TV or something.
Yes, here's the thing. I know that you have been to Disney, and the show are fans of Disney. That is the lamest premiere ride down at Disney, at Animal Kingdom. The Avatar ride.
Which one? There's 2 rides.
Not the river. I like the river. My daughter liked that one. I'm talking about the Avatar where it's like Flight of Passage, but lamer.
Wait, Flight of Passage? That is the one.
Is that what it's called, Flight of Passage?
Yeah, where you get on the back of the whatever those animals are, and it flies you through and all that stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was so stupid.
No, that one, I like that one. I like that one better than the river one. Oh yeah, like you're on this thing, and the ride breathes beneath you.
It's stupid.
It's 4D.
What's the other one?
It splashes you with water and everything.
All right, who's the one that's hosted by Patrick Warburton? It's very similar, but you sit up during it. Soarin's so much better than the Avatar one. Soarin' is like 10 times better than the Avatar ride, and it's the same thing.
No, I disagree.
Okay, that's just me being grumpy.
Yeah, grumpy old
You
Ryan.
were talking about Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Stranger Things, but it's getting panned in all the reviews. They said it's lost everything, and it's lame now. Like, all the other ones were so great, and I haven't seen the new ones that came out, but they're not getting good reviews. Have you watched it?
I'm all up to date. I'm looking forward to the last episode tomorrow night. What is it, 7:00 on Netflix?
Sounds about right.
You know
what I got into?
I don't have a problem with them.
Pluribus on Apple TV. Have you seen any of those?
No. What is the?
It was one of those that it started off like, this is awesome. Episode 2, wow, this is awesome. And then slowly it starts to level off, and it's just good. But the first couple of episodes were fantastic, and it got me so hooked. Pluribus is not Sandy Wexler. What's her name? She was in Better Call Saul, and she played the lawyer in Better Call Saul, and now Vince Gilligan is the creator of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and one of the actresses that was in Better Call Saul is now the lead in this Pluribus, and she's awesome. She is so good in this. Everything's so good about it. For right now, I feel like I'm so tapped out. I'm going from one binge to another after another. I don't remember the last time I binged so many different series.
Yeah, I kind of get where you're at. I am looking for a really good series. So,
yeah,
Stranger Things, I have to see how it ends. Season 5 to
How
me,
about this?
It's all right.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
I do. I have
Okay.
Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Apple.
Oh, you do have Apple.
And
Okay,
Hulu,
watch the
yeah.
first episode of Pluribus and tell me that's not good. I would say watch, because the season 1 just ended. There's only 9 episodes in it. Watch
Okay.
episode 1 and tell me what you think. Did you see the update from that child star from Ned's Declassified, Tyler Chase, back on the street?
Okay, so I know the story. I know of the story, but I'm not like super intimately familiar with it. So run it down for me
Give
real
you a
quick.
quick rundown. He was a child star. He was on, it was Disney or Nickelodeon, one of the two, but he was later spotted. Someone's like, hey, you look like that guy from that TV show. Yeah, that's me. I was the child. And he's walking around and he's like holding his pants up and obviously addicted to something.
Yeah.
And living on the street, not good. So you have other child stars that are now grown up, some of which have gone through their own struggles and have come out the other side. And they want to help him, so they buy him meals. They try to set him up inside of a motel room. And then the report came out that he trashed the motel room and left. However, I saw a video of the motel room. He didn't trash it. It was left like, I wouldn't call it trash. That's not the right term for it. Maybe messy, but not trashed. So they find him again. They're like, let's get you to the hospital to get checked out. Involuntary checkout. And then afterwards, we're going to get you sent to the rehab to try to help you. And he seemed to be on board with that. So he went through the mental health crisis. It was involuntary. He went through the couple of days of holding. And then he decided, I'm out of here. Instead of going to rehab, he was caught on the street smoking crack out of a pipe again. So here's what the latest is. The latest is people pleading, some of these old stars, stop trying to find him on the streets to take selfies with him, because he's not a freak show and this isn't like the traveling circus. And that's where it stands right now. He is collecting money from people that want to come and see him, and he's smoking crack, not wanting to do rehab. This is pretty sad, but I got to say, this is California. Like, when I think of California, this is what I think of. This story and what happens to people there when it comes to these addictions, and people enabling the addictions to get so far down the line that I think only God himself can intervene to stop this person from taking drugs. And I also felt a little bit ashamed, because as they were warning people to stop taking photos of him, here I am Google searching him every day because I want to get an update. And I feel, am I the problem? Am I feeding this beast that's enabling him and the people to go out there to bother this guy who's a drug addict? Am I? Am I part of the problem too, because I'm interested in this and trying to get updates and people bothering him?
Well, the question is, like, what are you worried about him? You know?
No, I'm not. Truth be told, I don't feel the need to like donate to a GoFundMe or anything.
No, I
like
don't
if that was
either.
the threshold. I'm worried that he's living this way and he's getting opportunities and it's not going. I worry about that, but nonetheless, when it's out of my mind, I don't think about it ever. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like another news story.
Yeah, like my initial reaction when I saw it and I saw the picture, I was like, "Oh, that's super sad." But like, I didn't have any connection to. What was the name of the show he was in?
It was Ned's Declassified. Okay. Never watched it.
So, I had never seen it. But the thing is like a lot of the adults now grew up with those shows, and so these are childhood stars that they grew up with, and they see that. That's super tragic to them. But to somebody like me or you that didn't grow up with it, that's never seen the show, it doesn't. It's like it's a sad story, but it doesn't really. I don't know what the right word is. Like,
you don't connect as much?
No, I mean, anytime somebody goes from a good life, they get hooked on drugs and end up on the streets and basically homeless and addicted. That is a super big tragedy.
Yeah. But, and that's California right now.
And that's
How many people are hooked on the street and living there, and they just want to, because the climate's so nice, they can just stay outside 24/7, and they're content with it because they get their fix.
Well, I think
that's California right now.
I think that's the majority of people that live that lifestyle, that are in that lifestyle. They're good. Don't want to change. Get their fix. Weather's nice. Don't really need anything else. And that's just how much, that stuff jacks you up.
And it's another telltale sign of why we don't want the politics of California to dictate how the rest of the country operates. Because, you talk about the Gavin Newsoms of the world, who, and people that have been in power. Kamala Harris is a good example of this, too, coming from California. If these are the things they're okay with in enabling and allowing, then what kind of policies would they implement across the U.S. that would amplify the problems in their state that they couldn't fix?
Well, I kind of think that we saw that in the last 4 years. You just enable people to do whatever they want as far as that goes, but then you do things like you hamstring organizations like the church or whatever. You go after or you go after conservative run pregnancy life centers. You want those gone. You want people to get abortions. You just look at the 4 years of Biden, because look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think Biden was in control for any of it. I think he was just a figurehead. They just propped him up, and then people behind the scenes did exactly what people like Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom would want to do anyway. And then you can look at California and take it to its logical conclusion. The policies don't work. Like that to me, that is something that I don't understand from Democrats. And maybe if there's Democrats out there and they want to jump on the chat and explain to me, why do you continue to support policies that result in stuff like what's happening in California?
Yeah. What about, how do you think if they were to get an honest assessment of fraud in California, how that would look? Probably dwarf Minnesota because their budget's so much higher.
Well, I was to say, isn't California the fifth largest economy in the world?
Yeah, it's like Texas and California rank in the top 10 or whatever if you're to single them out.
I think it would be. I think the numbers would be so big that you couldn't even wrap your mind around numbers that big of people just stealing money.
Yeah, it's all about the theft of it. When we come back, there's a few other things I want to get to, and I'll tell you what, it's one of those weeks where it's the end of the year. There shouldn't be this much news going on at the end of the year, honestly. There's just so much to cover. I'm Ryan Riker, filling in for Annie Fry on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisor Group. As a family-owned business, we'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We grew up right here in St. Louis, part of a large family, and that's what makes the holidays so special. The things we hold in our hearts, not in our hands. It's the people, family, friends, and personal relationships that grow stronger with the passing of time.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. In the past 39 years, we have become part of many lasting relationships, and we have made a lot of friends in and around St. Louis that just can't be taken away. So, as we turn the page and put yet another year in the books, let's remember to be good to one another. And for those of you who have lost loved ones, our hearts go out to you. Here's hoping next year will bring even more joy and blessings to all of you. And remember the important things to be thankful for. From all of us at the Retirement Advisory Group and from our family to your family, we'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which
is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesideRD.com to schedule your free consultation.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Will anyone be prosecuted in the Minnesota fraud scandal? And we got 3 options here. The first one is yes, the top players. That includes everybody that's involved. Then the next option is yes, but none of the top players, just minor characters, minor role players in this. And then the last one is no one's getting prosecuted. We want to know what you think about that. It's the big news story of the week. So jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll, leave us a comment telling us why you voted the way you voted. Let's see here. I think Doug had a good one. He said, regarding the poll, LOL, no, not one indictment. So Doug is not excited about this, but then others are. Betsy says, I pray that 2026 brings prosecutions, for several reasons. That being said, I won't be holding my breath. So Betsy's a little more optimistic. So we want to know what you think. Jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll, leave us a comment telling us why you voted the way you voted. The time is 1:33. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Built in the heartland, for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, this town has closed down way too early, and there's nothing to do.
Who's this artist, Brad? You know?
So I'm driving around and
Gary
it sounds like
and I'm
Gary Allen.
thinking
Interesting.
about you.
Yeah.
It's kind of a legend.
Songs about rain. So I wonder if there's a theme in the music today, because the first song was I'm Only Happy When It Rains.
Oh, okay. Well, you kind of... I wonder if there's a connection with rain and rain. I forgot to listen for the connections. You know, the New York Post did another story about how California is voting on this 5% wealth tax.
This is terrible.
So the idea essentially is it does not income tax, meaning you're taxed on the income that you generate as you work and as it comes in, but you're taxed on the amount of wealth you have. So let's say you have a total amount of money that's already facing other types of taxes. It doesn't matter. It would tax 5% of their total wealth. And big companies and big people in those companies are like, you know what that means? We would be out of here. Like, it would, no question, they would be out of here. And that would start perhaps one of the biggest mass exoduses of California of anyone that has any type of wealth.
Yeah, they tried this, or they pitched this idea, and I don't know that they pitched it as in California, but they pitched it nationally as a unrealized capital gains tax before.
Right, exactly.
And it was not popular because people like that don't understand how wealth and money works. So you look at Elon Musk and you say, oh, he's worth however many $1 trillion. Is he a trillionaire yet? He's worth that. So we get 5% of that. Well, a lot of that stuff is like stocks and non-liquid assets and stuff like that he would have to liquidate to pay this tax every year. It would destroy people, and they don't even realize it.
Right, exactly. And if you think about it on a personal level, and I think the best way to try to visualize it is the amount of capital you perhaps built in your home. So let's say you bought the house for $200,000, and 10 years ago, now it's worth $300,000, like it's gained $100,000. That's like the government saying, well, we need to tax you on that extra $100,000 it's now worth. And you're thinking, well, I didn't sell the house. I didn't gain anything from it other than it's just become more valuable arbitrarily based on what it may be worth, not necessarily what it is worth.
Yeah.
Because we won't know what it's worth until it sells. And that's
Right.
how you would be able to determine that. But they'll say no. Or, like, let's say you put some investments together and you're just letting it save. Okay, let's take a percentage of the savings because now it's worth more, this bond you purchased, or, you know, some of these other things that may have gained in value. It is a terrible idea. So that's one of the top stories there about the billionaires, that ones that have decided not to leave yet would essentially guarantee that they are out of California after that. Elon Musk is gone. I mean, like, this is one of the reasons he's like, I'm not even playing around with California anymore.
No, and he moved his
I'm going to
company
Texas.
out of there. Like all
you
of
know
it.
how insane that is for California? It was the most American-made vehicle was in California with Tesla, and they were the home to that. And they drove out the most American-made vehicle.
They drove it out.
Goes to show you.
They drove it out. It's also the EV vehicle, which is what everything that people in California have been pushing forever, because they've got laws now saying that every vehicle in California needs to be electric by like 2030 or something like that. They pushed that man out. The man that was single-handedly pushing the EV market, moving it forward and advancing it. Ford, Dodge, Chrysler, none of those companies, Chevy, none of them would be making EVs to the extent that they made them if it wasn't for Tesla. And they're like, he's bad because he supported Trump.
Yep. Do you think there's some leadership questions in the Democratic Party right now? Who do you think the leader is? Like, if you were to say the best chance to take on, let's say, J.D. Vance or something, on the Democratic side, would it be Gavin Newsom in California's policies?
No, I don't even think he gets double-digit support in the primaries right now, or in those polling right now. I think
who
he's
would
super
then?
low. That's what's really hard. Who is it? And that's a big problem. AOC, as crazy as it may sound, she polls higher than anybody would actually expect her to. Would she be a real threat? A little bit, you know. She's good. She's good.
So.
She's a good politician. She's not a good leader. She's a good politician. And those are two different things. But yeah, I couldn't.
Stuff ain't popular right now. I mean, so she's kind of looked at in that grouping.
But she could win squad stuff and win the primary.
Yeah. Do you think she would do a dance if, like, on stage if there was a debate? So she would show off her moves, like, in between the breaks?
No.
You know who Nancy Pelosi likes is Hakeem Jeffries, who's got the funniest nickname, by the way, which is it Dollar Store Obama?
Oh, gosh.
Hakeem Jeffries is who Nancy Pelosi likes. Let me play this clip real quick. Here it is. Okay.
So if the Democrats win the House back.
Yeah. No. When? When the Democrats win the House back, then we will.
So how does the next Democratic Speaker of the House deal with Donald Trump? What would be your advice? You've been there. You've done it.
Just do your own thing. Just be yourself. Hakeem Jeffries is ready. He's eloquent. He's respected by the members. He's a unifier, and he will have.
You have no doubt it'll be Hakeem Jeffries.
So that's Nancy Pelosi believing Hakeem Jeffries will be the new leader of the party, much like she was there for a while, at least gathering the troops together. I don't think so. I think he is boring and dull.
Yes. She's like, he's eloquent. If you have to say that, then he's not.
Yeah. What is it like on a dating profile? You have to put like code words in without talking about your flaws.
Here's something that I do think is true. I think Nancy Pelosi is still the Democrat leader in the House.
So?
Yep, because whenever they're always still talking about, well, who is the heir apparent and who do they go to talk to about that? Nancy Pelosi. They always want to know what Nancy Pelosi thinks on it. And even though she's only the Speaker Emeritus, she has stepped down from that position, and she's not running for re-election. She is in charge.
Why is she like whispering? Is that just an age thing? She's getting way too old?
Probably.
Yeah. Do you think she'll ever? There's no accountability for the insider trading and everything else of how she gained her wealth, her and her husband.
There's no accountability for it, and I don't know how illegal it is. You know, I heard
her to use insider trading.
Who was I talking to about this? I want to say we had it was like Senator Schmidt or no. It was Senator Hawley. He was talking about this, and he said, "Is it illegal? It's hard to say. Is it immoral? Absolutely." So he said, 100%. Why don't we write clear legislation to make that sort of thing illegal?
Okay. Do you think they'll do that to themselves? The answer is no.
Not a chance. Not a chance. I heard Dan Crenshaw make this argument, and he was kind of doing his Dan Crenshaw, I'm exasperated, and why are you guys even talking to me about this sort of thing? He said, you want to ban trading? Fine, ban trading. He goes, but we have to own 2 houses and live in Washington, D.C. and pay for a place here. And it's like, yeah, D.C. is super expensive. I get that. And apparently their congressional salary isn't enough. I'm like, why don't we just give them dorms to live in while they're in D.C.? Like, let's
call top bunk.
Like, let's not make being the congressman or a representative or a senator a super glamorous job. Let's make it a public service job where you don't have to pay for a place. There's a government provided housing arrangement where you and the other members of your party go and you live in this building and you stay and you work together and you do all that stuff together. And then when you go back to district, you stay in your own homes. I don't know. I think that these are problems that we could definitely be solved. I don't think that it's okay that Congress trades stocks and they get the information ahead of time. Like they know what's going to drop.
Yeah. Remember when there was a time when we hated Fetterman and now love him, and there was a time when we loved Crenshaw and now hate him? Like I do not like Dan Crenshaw. I'm done with him. It's like I don't think that there's going to be a lot of redeeming factors where he's going to grow back on me. I feel like his time has passed and he is now someone that is irrelevant to me.
Well,
but I look at Fetterman and I say, how did that happen? How did he flip so much that I actually like him now? I don't get that.
Well, here's what's crazy, though. I would still take Crenshaw's voting over Fetterman's voting.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Crenshaw's voting record is going to be way more conservative than anything. Fetterman talks a lot, but when was the last time he actually, he voted to open the government? But when has he really actually sided with Republicans on anything that was like a central core conservative issue?
That's a good point. I'm going to have to go back and look at his voting record, maybe during the break, and then we can analyze some of the more recent votes. You think he's all talk? That's what it is? It's all talk from Fetterman?
I think he's still a liberal. I just don't think he's a crazy liberal. And it seems so refreshing and so centrist compared to some of the crazies in that party.
Yeah. After the break, there was another story I saw, and this one's coming out of Canada. It's just a little bit different. Do you understand they have assisted suicide laws in Canada, but there's one woman that's fighting the Canadian government because she wants to be included under those assisted suicide, but they're not letting her. And now this has become a big court case. It's so you know what? Do we have to put a warning label on the next segment, because this may be some sensitive topics to some people, but we'll just say it there. It's in the news. It's something I want to talk about. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry, 97.1 FM Talk.
But for some unknown reason, nobody wants to play them tonight.
Hey, it's your main man, Jimmy Fallon, and I am headed your way. Saturday, January 24th at the Factory in Chesterfield. We are defunding the joke police. So grab your tickets at 971fmtalk.com/events, and I will see you in the loo.
The cash out refinance option with Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan is a really smart move. And for a lot of you folks trying to start 2026 out with a financial bang for your future, maybe the Bagel Loan is exactly how you get that done. Your current mortgage right now is maybe a little higher of a rate if you've got it in the last few years. Maybe they've come down since then. If it's not the rate that you're worried about, but you want to tap into that enormous equity that is built in your home as values have gone up, and you want to make an improvement on your house. You finally want to get the kitchen redone, or you want to pay down some high interest credit card debt, maybe some student loans, whatever it might be. When you tap into the equity in your home, you're going to want to do a refinance on that mortgage. Start with the Bagel Loan with Stewie. $0 in closing costs for you to refinance your mortgage. Call him at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google the Bagel Loan for more information, and MLS number 226715.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
At Grasser Home Services, we're looking for happy plumbers to join our team. Plumbers who are polite, honest, and do the job right.
And love dogs. They must love dogs.
Plumbers who treat customers' homes with respect, care about the details, and show up on time.
Know a happy plumber who's great with dogs?
Have them call Grasser Home Services.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You're right about Fetterman's record, by the way. I was I was just doing a quick search. It was my impression of his voting record's different than my impression of the topics I hear him on, I guess, discuss publicly. So,
He's got the right idea.
I
He
think
just
you make a
doesn't
pretty,
vote on them.
you make a pretty good point. So, there is a story out of Canada, and a Canadian actress is seeking medically assisted suicide because she battles crippling mental health issues. The law in Canada is assisted suicide's there, it's fine. But if you have mental health issues, you're not allowed to get it because the mental health issues may be clouding your judgment to get the assisted suicide. So now she's an actress. She's been in some pretty big, recognizable things, I guess, all things considered. Montreal born, has appeared in dozens of movies, and has attempted suicide several times, and also now wants assisted suicide. She wants to end her life. She's 48 years old. Her name's Claire Brosseau. And the government say no, because you have depression, anxiety disorder, substance abuse disorder. You have other mental illnesses since her childhood, well documented. You're not allowed to by law. So now she's fighting the government to end her life. It's kind of a weird stance to take, isn't it?
Why? Yeah. Yeah, this. I guess she doesn't want to do it herself, or she wants it to be,
She said she's unsuccessfully tried, and it's part of it too.
So she needs a professional to help her.
I guess but she's in the news, and they're writing articles about her, and she's trying to fight this to the point through the courts to allow this sort of thing to happen. If Canada allows this sort of thing to happen, you think going through this great lengths would be enough for them to sign off on it. But it made me wonder something more. Do you think here in the United States, and I don't mean this in a joking way, do you think that in the United States there'll be an industry for this in the future where it'll be like in a strip mall and they'll just offer this service like they offer everything else, and it'll be more common in countries as a humane way? Do you think this will be a thing in the United States?
I think eyes on Illinois, because I believe they just passed something along these lines.
Yep, and the Pope didn't like it.
No.
Did not like that whatsoever. So do you think, okay, we'll use
For
Illinois
sure.
as an
If somebody
example.
can make money off of it, they'll do it.
Isn't that sad? All things considered, if someone can make money off of it and they can collect some tax dollars from it, and to do it in a way, what they would say is, we just need to make sure the conditions are proper, so we're doing this in a humane way. So if this becomes more widespread, how depressing is it to think that just like every other industry, it's going to be in strip malls, and it's going to be on billboards, and you're going to hear advertisements for it, and you'll see it web banners for it, and people are going to talk about it commonly without it there being any taboo with it.
Well,
that's where it goes.
Well, and it does that, and not only does it do that, it normalizes. It becomes a mundane thing when somebody passes away, and it's like, oh yeah, did you hear our neighbor went up to the strip mall, and now his house is up for sale because he's no longer with us, and everybody oh well, that's a shame, and then they move on, and it's just how it's depressing to me. I don't like these laws. I don't think that you should be helping people. I think in their own lives. I think that you should be helping them get better, helping them overcome whatever it is that they're struggling with. That's real help. You're not improving their quality of life. You're ending their life.
Yeah. Yeah. And, in a lot of ways, that's kind of how people look at abortion, where, they justify it in certain ways through their mind, when ultimately what you're doing is ending a life, and you're not helping that life. In fact, you're not. That's why there's people that advocate right to life, and rightfully so, and there should be. So I found that very fascinating. That was one of the top headlines I found. And I just found that just confusing to me in some way, because I thought, Is that what it's going to be like in 20 years? Are we just going to be more common? Because you see these other countries where they develop these pods and things, and you go out to the forest and you hop in the pod and they pump in the gas, and someone collects your body after that, and it's over. And they look at this as the humane alternative, and it doesn't seem all that humane. It's another industry where people are going to take advantage of it, and that's the way it's going to go. There's another story I saw, and this was from Jerusalem Post. This is unrelated, kind of interesting. And this is their headline. It says, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens dramatically increased Israel focus in recent months, study finds. So now keep in mind this is Jerusalem Post is the one that's publishing this article. So when you hear Candace Owens, and Candace Owens has changed a lot, I'll put it that way, over the last couple of years. Tucker Carlson, after leaving Fox News, gets a podcast, and he does these shows, he does these different topics, and it seems like maybe they have something in common, which is when someone tells them they're not allowed to talk about something, they go overboard in talking about it more, and it gives the impression that they are against certain things, even though I don't think Tucker Carlson's against the Jewish population. I think that when he talks about it and people tell him he can't, and then he goes overboard with it, that people get the wrong impression, perhaps. Maybe I'm misassessing what's going on here. Or do you think there's just this, they're popularizing a rise in anti-Semitism, and they're actually on the wrong side here? I really can't tell with these instances.
Yeah, man, I think... There are some people in that movement that I definitely think are incredibly big anti-Semites. I haven't paid enough attention to. Oh yeah, I haven't paid enough attention to what Tucker Carlson's saying. But man, it's sure I don't know how you can be just like.
Well, I can give you the rundown of what Tucker gets in trouble. I shouldn't even say get in trouble with. His main stance is America first. We shouldn't be involving ourselves with Israel, sending money and resources because we have our own people to take care of. We should give $0 to Israel. That's his stance. And he's looked at when he talks about Israel in that way as anti-Semitic. And I don't believe he is anti-Semitic. I just believe he doesn't want to be involved in foreign affairs.
Yeah, but then when you see him say things like, well, they're killing Christians, they're targeting Christians, when you do that, what you're doing then is creating an animosity, not just we shouldn't be involved in that. You're saying we should actively dislike them. And
interesting.
And I think that's where you get over your skis, where you cross the line. I'm America first. And when I look at this, but I'm not America only, and I'm not America alone. And sometimes I look at these things and I say, well, is it America first? Does it ultimately benefit America for us to be involved in certain things and not involved in other things? And I think that having Israel strong in the Middle East is a plus for the United States. And especially like Israel of all places, because there's not American soldiers being put on the ground in Israel. There was whenever they built that stupid pier to feed the Gazans, but that wasn't for Israel. That was for Gaza. You know, there's not American soldiers over there. Basically, the United States shares weapons and technology with Israel, and then Israel handles themselves. That's kind of what I want from my allies. You be strong, you fight against our enemies, and all I got to do is kind of like share weapons and technology with you. That's great. You know, that's what, like if we had that same arrangement with, I don't know, England, which we do, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong. Nobody complains about it. So, like, I don't know. I don't know how you can be America first and then let the world burn down around you. If you do that, you haven't been paying attention to history. So anyway,
I think Candace Owens might be a different story than Tucker Carlson. I think that's a whole different deal. Man, has she changed a lot over the last year, and there's something going on there, and I do think it's a mental health component to it. So I'm not going to say that she's a lost cause, but man, I hope that she gets a little bit of help or whatever it may be, because something switched there, and it's pretty obvious. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry, 97.1 FM Talk.
Michael's Flooring Outlet, online, of course, at igotfloored.com. I want to talk to you about the Smart Strand Mohawk Silk line of carpet. Comfortable, cozy, warm, homey carpet for your home to replace that old dingy stuff that's been there for a long time. And boy, the life that it's seen and is now showing, you need to replace it with a quality brand like the Smart Strand Mohawk Silk line of flooring. Silky softness, superior performance, and 3 times more individual fibers than ordinary nylon carpet. Each strand of Smart Strand silk carpet is packed with 700 silk-like stain-resistant fibers, which means that Mohawk silk line of carpet is going to stand up to the life that you're going to live on it and not be showing in it like the carpet that's in your house right now. If you're shopping for flooring, shop at Michael's Flooring Outlet at 3 of their locations in St. Charles County, in West County, also in Darden Prairie. And you can request an estimate, read reviews, and check out their products online. Visit Michael's Flooring Outlet at igotfloor.com.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code NEXT for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code NEXT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code NEXT.
Hi, I'm Uzo Aduba, and right now, medical information is not regularly being shared within the research community, but you can help change that. Patients can help accelerate research by sharing their information and unique experience.
Everyone's experience with cancer matters, including my own.
If you're a cancer patient in the U.S. and its territories or Canada, you may be able to play a part in accelerating cancer research and uncovering new breakthroughs simply by sharing your patient data with researchers around the world.
My unique experience can make the difference of life and death to some of the people in my community.
It is in our stories and data that the answers can be found.
Join Stand Up to Cancer, Count Me In, and thousands of patients like Maeve, Bridget, and Joel in this movement.
For our family.
For our friends.
For us all.
The information is out there. Together we can unlock it. Join in at standuptocancer.org/countmein.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Venezuela is nervous. I'm Kevin Uretsky, Fox News. Tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela are ramping up even further. Fox's Madeline Rivera in Washington with the latest.
U.S. Southern Command struck another alleged drug boat in the Eastern Pacific yesterday, marking at least the 30th strike since September 2nd. U.S. officials say 2 men were killed. The U.S. has conducted most of its operation in international waters, from targeting boats that they say are carrying drugs to seizing oil tankers. But it appears the U.S. has conducted the first known land strike in Venezuela. The president giving more details about something he first mentioned last week in a radio interview, saying they hit a facility where ships come from. The president did not say whether the strike was conducted by the military or the CIA.
More than 100 people have reportedly been killed since those strikes on the boats began in September. Federal authorities have arrested a Texas man who investigators say gave money and bomb components to undercover agents, thinking he was supporting ISIS. Fox's Brooke Taylor has more.
This investigation started back in October when an undercover NYPD officer flagged a social media account belonging to John Michael Garza Jr. The account followed several pro-ISIS pages and commented on ISIS posts. The undercover officer started talking with Garza, who described himself as a 21-year-old Mexican-American living in Texas. Over the course of 2 months, Garza sent ISIS media releases to the undercover agent, including videos of suicide bombings and instructional bomb-making videos.
He's now charged with an international terrorism offense. And a derailed CSX train leaked a flammable chemical and sparked a fire in southern Kentucky this morning. prompting authorities to issue a shelter-in-place order that was later lifted. No injuries were reported. America is listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
10 athletes will face the toughest job interview in fitness that will push past physical and mental breaking points. You are the fittest of the fit. Only one of you will leave here with an iFit contract for $250,000.
This is when mindset comes in.
Someone will be eliminated.
Pressure is coming down.
Trainer Games on Prime Video January 8th. Watch the trailer on trainergames.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The good news, a little less wind as we go through our Tuesday afternoon. A mix of clouds and sunshine, 35 for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, breezy, 21. Wednesday, partly sunny, cold start, but not too bad in the afternoon, 45 on Wednesday. Wednesday night, New Year's Eve, partly cloudy, 27, and Thursday, partly sunny, 39. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Don't freeze as it gets colder. If your furnace isn't working, Air Comfort Service can get you back in your comfort zone fast with a service call for only $99. Get your furnace serviced. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. Brad, it's always a pleasure when I get to work with you. You're so good at what you do, and your sweatshirt is so nice and shiny.
Nice and blue and new.
It looks very nice inside of the camera. And no, you are not a Duke fan, but
no, I'm
you
also
will
not a
confront
UNC
them.
fan.
Just the right color. This is more like baby blue. It's kind of a nice color, like the sky with a little bit of cloud in the middle.
I like victory blue. I think that's what the Cardinals call their blue, is victory blue.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So how's the YouTube poll chat going?
Poll is popping right now. Over 100 votes, and it is split, but not very evenly. So we kind of split the yes vote with our options.
Yeah.
But there's not a very clear winner on this one right now.
Got it. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and you have this hour to do it. We'll put the results out later this hour. So what do you think about these drug boats getting busted, and did you hear President Trump describing what goes on with some of these drug gangs in the United States and how they handle people? Like, let me play this example for you. This is him talking about Maduro and why this is a problem with these drugs. All right, here we go.
They've sent billions of dollars of drugs in. But maybe just as bad, they've sent hundreds of thousands of people in from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions and insane asylums. The drug lords, the drug dealers were all sent into our country. But think of it, what he's done. Tren de Aragua, probably the worst gang. They cut off people's fingers. One man made a phone call to complain about them. He cut off their hand. They cut off his hand. Don't ever make a phone call again. We'll cut off your other hand. After that, we'll kill you, they said. That was in Colorado. They sent in all of the bad ones. They sent in some bad people. And that to me was just terrible. And they send in drugs. Now, I will say this. 97% of the drugs coming in by sea stopped. We're trying to figure out who the other 3% are. They have a hard time getting people to pilot those boats.
Yeah, I would say they would have a hard time getting people to pilot those boats. So this was part of the press conference with Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, standing next to President Trump, and he's talking about hands getting cut off from drug lords and gangs inside the United States. And he's standing there and he's listening to this and he's like, okay. I'm like, well, you guys in the U.S. got some issues. We got issues too. That's why I'm here. So don't forget about me. Press was mostly interested in some of these foreign wars. Going back to Ukraine and Russia, are you... I think about where we stand with that, and I know J.D. Vance has kind of taken more of a front seat when it comes to the Middle East. Jared Kushner coming out and helping with that too. And I got to tell you, I wasn't thinking much about Jared Kushner. I know he was very involved during the first term.
Yeah.
But the second term, he's kind of been like laying low, but apparently he's been doing a lot behind the backgrounds to help facilitate this.
Well, I think he's been laying low because, like, if people really paid attention, they would get all mad because Donald Trump's son-in-law is handling this, and then there would be the whole thing, like they had in the first administration, this whole dust-up about, well, why is his son-in-law doing it? What does he know about the Middle East? And then scoreboard, Abraham Accords. He apparently knows something about it because he is getting results where nobody else was. But I think he's done... I gotta say, I gotta give the guy credit. You know, he brought about the Abraham Accords. He was instrumental in that. Then he goes back this time around, and they've kind of re-upping on those. We're seeing stuff calm down over there. I think Jared Kushner is on to something, and there's nothing wrong with. He happens to be related to Trump, but he's getting the good results. So good.
Yeah,
Keep people that get the results in. That's who we want. People that get the results that you want in handling these things.
Now, he was involved during the first term. There was a 4-year break. Picks right back up, and it's... Can I just point out very quickly, if, let's say, Donald Trump had consecutive terms, this would be wrapped up by now. Like, if it wasn't for that 4-year gap where the Biden administration didn't seem to be able to get a handle on anything, if he was still... Jared Kushner and them were still working on this would have been over. And... think of all the lives that would have been saved if Joe Biden lost that election and Donald Trump served a consecutive term. Think about where the economy would be right now if we didn't have that Joe Biden 4 years. How big of a setback was Joe Biden to America? I mean, because I feel there's some ways you can calculate it, and it's a really big setback.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's hard. It is hard to say, but that would make for a good documentary. Would you watch that documentary if I created it?
Probably. I support my friends' projects. That's why I read Ryan Wiggins' books. That's why if you made a documentary, I'd be all over it. And then I would go tell everybody, you need to go see this. It's really good.
Oh, it's really good. So you would endorse it as well.
Sure.
Now, I got Wiggins' first book. I purchased it. I forced my wife to read it so she can review it on air for me.
Okay.
And then we brought Ryan Wiggins on for the review. I made him listen to his review in real time.
How'd that go?
It went good because my wife enjoyed it. You know what? My wife, she said something, and I said, you understand that could be taken not as a compliment. People could be offended by your review because she said, for a first-time writer, it was really impressive. I'm like, that makes it sound like you're trying to find something nice to say. She's like, no, that's a compliment. She's like, I read a lot of first-time authors, and they're nowhere near as good as Ryan Wiggins' book. I haven't read his second book, though.
Yeah, his second book is The Grocery List, and it is less of a novel and more of a collection of jokes and sayings. So they're like one-liners. So it's a coffee table book, and he's like, you don't have to read it. You can pick it up, put it down. Now, in Ryan's defense, and I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm defending Ryan. In Ryan's defense, The Life of Human was his first novel, but he has been writing for a lot longer than that book. So he is a good writer. He wrote screenplays and show episodes, and I think he even wrote some stand-up for some stand-up comics. So he's a very good writer. And he's been doing that for quite a while.
Yeah, I think he said that his wife was his editor. So in the first book, that makes sense. And I didn't realize he also wrote for other people like that, which is kind of interesting. So going back to Israel and Iran and Gaza, you have Ukraine and Russia. You have Venezuela. You have Where else am I missing? Oh, how about the strikes in Nigeria? This is Representative Mike Turner.
This is a continuation, of course, of our conflict with ISIS. It's been, around the world, Iraq, Syria. You're seeing it now in Nigeria. This was undertaken, of course, with the Nigerian government. And this is, continuation of what we're seeing of the conflict really around the world with ISIS.
Yep. And speaking of how talks are going between Russia and Ukraine, I think the UN Parliament was going to get together, I believe, today. And I haven't seen any update on that. It was just basically a one-off note that there could be a meeting today based on the call that Donald Trump made on Sunday to the world leaders to see if they would also get on board with the conditions the United States put together between the two. Because Donald Trump wanted to put them, at least enable them to understand what's going on in case, they need to be involved.
Do you see anything that's like, when you look at Donald Trump and his ability or his efforts to negotiate peace in Ukraine, do you see anything in these peace negotiations that's like weird or out of the ordinary or anything like that? Or does it?
No.
I mean, it just follows pretty much the standard, okay, what do you want? And then he goes to the other party and he's like, what do you want? And then he goes back to the original party. They want this. Can you give them this? And then they'll give you this and that sort of thing. I look at this, and like one of the things that bothers me a lot is the critiques that Donald Trump gets because he's talking to Vladimir Putin. And it's such a silly critique because you can't negotiate between two warring parties if you refuse to talk to one.
Right.
And I can look at that.
So,
I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, but I can look at that party and say, yes, Vladimir Putin and Russia are very clearly in the wrong in invading. They're in the wrong.
No. Yeah.
100%. But if we don't talk to them, the war doesn't end unless one party or the other achieves total victory, and there's no way that either side is able to do that.
Yep. This is what Zelensky said about it. When he came into the United States, met at Mar-a-Lago, he sat down with Brett Baer, and this is where it kind of sits with Zelensky.
Is there any indication that you see that Vladimir Putin wants peace by what he's doing or saying?
Me not, be honest. And I don't see it because, first of all, I don't hear it publicly. His messages, he doesn't speak about peace. Now he doesn't speak. He says that he can go further. It's not the signals of peace.
Yeah, not the signals of peace. I think that's where it's going to sit. I think that Ukraine, and even if Donald Trump has to go and speak to the Ukrainian parliament to convince them to get those last couple of details in, I think Donald Trump is going to have to be realistic to Ukraine. And he's going to say, if you really want to end this and you want people to stop dying, you're not going to get everything you want, but at least you're going to get to be able to sleep at night without bombs going off in your building. That is ultimately the reality, the gravity of the reality of the situation. And you can continue to fight, and you can fight forever, and you can lose everything if you want to take that gamble, because it's going to be awfully difficult when the United States says, all right, you made your decision, good luck, I'll see you later, alligator. And we hope that you win, but we're just not going to put a peace plan on the table. You reject it, and then we continue to support you after that. This is your exit ramp, and you better take it.
Yeah.
That's the Donald Trump speech, essentially, I think.
Yeah, but then I also look at this, and it's like, what do you do if Russia doesn't want peace? I mean, every one of those numbers out there, those aren't just like 3,000 Russian soldiers died today. That's not numbers. Those are people. Those are 3,000 husbands, brothers, fathers, sons, uncles. Same thing on the Ukrainian side. Those are real people dying. And anybody that's like they should fight to the bitter end or whatever, okay, but they're not your family members that are dying on the front line. And you have to ask yourself, what is the price that you're willing to pay for the Donbass? If that's what Putin wants, he wants the Donbass. What is the price you're willing to pay for it? What are, and he's already made up his mind. He's going to pay whatever price he wants for it. He will throw, this is Russian war doctrine, throw people at you until you are exhausted and out of people. And sooner or later, Ukraine's got less people. So if you don't negotiate, if you don't get a peace, you either just fight forever, or you have to put and escalate, and you have to put European and NATO troops in in Ukraine to push back, to counterattack, to fight back. I mean, I remember when this thing first started, there were people out there, Kinzinger's one of them, we should create a no-fly zone. It's like you want to put U.S. fighters over Ukraine in a war zone in direct conflict with Russia to tell them, hey, you can't fly here? No, thank you. You know, I'm not interested in shedding American blood to save Ukraine, no matter how wrong it is. I do think that we need to end this war.
All right, you're listening to the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Point Pest Control. Yes, that's point with an E. PointPestControl.com. If you have a pest problem and you need it solved and solved fast, call the people who I called. Call Point Pest Control. I appreciate their willingness to get down to the bottom of any problem. And I'm talking specifically about, in our house, spiders. If you have spiders in your home, I think we had wolf spiders. They're so scary looking. If you've got mice that are, scratching, you can hear them scratching on the walls, or you just kind of find what mice leave behind, call Point Pest Control and get rid of them. I am a Premier Service Plan subscriber, and I encourage you to do that too. An extra 10% discount if you mention Annie Fry when you give them a call, and have them come out, give quarterly treatments. They treat inside the home and outside the home, and the treatments that they use, safe for the animals in your house, safe for the kids, safe for you, of course, and not safe for the pets. 636-798-0023. That's 636-798-0023. You can find them online at pointpestcontrol.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
With conviction and clarity, The Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. I saw that this is on Yahoo, but the Wrap is, I guess, a blog, and they did a story called The Biggest Business Blunders in Media 2025. I want to go through a couple of these because it's so funny when a liberal writes these. You can say, like, the things that they look at as blunders. I look at it as in, I don't know why you didn't like that. I'm just going to go through a few and you tell me, okay? Here's number one. They said Disney dropping Jimmy Kimmel was their biggest blunder in the media. I guess you can look at it a couple of different ways. In September, Walt Disney said it was suspending production of Jimmy Kimmel Live after the comments he made about Charlie Kirk. Gone for 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, whatever the length was, but it wasn't that much. Kimmel came back, kind of apologized, but didn't say I'm sorry. But it was an apology, but it was, I seemed to feel it was genuine enough. And then he went back and it was Jimmy Kimmel again, hating to Donald Trump. So it was the biggest ratings he ever received. And they said that was the number one biggest media blunder of 2025.
Was Disney?
You think that was a big blunder? Yeah.
No. I think it was a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was like, hey, cut that out.
Yeah, it was in poor taste, making fun of Charlie Kirk after he's assassinated. That was in really poor taste. Yeah. And I can tell there's a lot of people that did not share the same values that he thought would be fair game to joke about the assassination of a political commentator at a school, by the way, which let's point out, it was a school shooting, to joke about that on top of it.
Well, and the thing about it is, too, he was so wrong in what he said that there are still people out there today that believe that the guy that is on trial for shooting him is some sort of crazy right-wing, guy. And that's not the case at all.
Nope. You see the documents they're releasing about it's so far, it's not much of anything. So a judge said, out of the case of transparency, we're going to release some of these court transcripts, and essentially him making an appearance. And they're like, I tried to skim through it. I should have had AI give it a look for me.
Give me a summary of this.
But give me a summary of this. But the parts that I saw, it was mostly them arguing about how he'll appear in court. Like, is he going to be dressed in an orange jumpsuit, or is he going to be in a suit? Are we going to keep the handcuffs on him when the public's not going to be allowed in the courtroom? So is he going to be a threat to anyone? So then they argued, well, he's got to be able to write, and there's long depositions in court, so he needs a hand to at least write. Then they said, can we let him have one hand? Then they argued the one hand, and I'm like, I can't go through this whole document if this is what they're arguing about. But that's why the lawyers make the big bucks. Now, imagine them going in front of a judge and they're making $1,000 an hour. Of course, they're dragging out if they're going to handcuff him or not. Okay, so that was the number one media blunder. Number two, this is the one I said, this is no blunder whatsoever. Rolling back DEI. They said that was the blunder media had in 2025.
That is not a blunder. That is so not a blunder. Okay, I got a great example for you, and spoiler alerts for you, but probably not because you pay attention and you have a good head on your shoulders. This is Stranger Things. So one of the big criticisms of Stranger Things is how a couple of these episodes have drug on. And in the last episode, there was a big scene where one of the main characters spent, I want to say, 3 to 4 minutes working up to saying, I don't like girls. And and everybody's like, no kidding. We've known this for whatever. We don't care. Let's get on with the story. So you look at it and you can kind of tell that it was written at a time where that would have been like big thing. But then now people don't care about that. What people care about is good storytelling and pacing when it comes to TV shows. And so DEI has nothing to do with any of that.
I think most people expect Netflix to do that with every single one of their original series. They're like, oh, okay, Netflix is going to do what Netflix does, and they're going to force that upon one of the characters because that's just how they operate. So here's what they say about it. Since President Trump was inaugurated in January, major conglomerates, including Disney, Amazon, Paramount Global, Warner Brothers, cut or adjusted their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. It was stunning to see how quickly studios retreated, particularly since Hollywood's efforts in recent years focused on championing diversity. Still, many programs had become paired. Okay, so then they talk about George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. They said all the progress we made during these other movements erased with Donald Trump. That was a big blunder by media.
No, not a blunder. Hire the best people, regardless of anything. Hire the best people, and then your company will succeed. It is racist to hire somebody based on their race. It is racist to not hire somebody based on their race. That is racism. That is the opposite of what you're trying to do with diversity. Let the best people get the best jobs, and that. Be happy with it. I talk about my doctors. I want the best doctor. I don't care male, female, black, white, whatever. I don't care. I want the best.
Well, obviously, this doesn't apply to schools or law or housing because they continue to discriminate in a lot of different ways. But they are pushing back on that, and rightfully so. I think you want to make sure that the laws are followed. In a lot of ways, they have not been followed by forcing race into this as a factor to discriminate against other races. And it's so funny because they're finally starting to catch up to these things and realizing that there's a major flaw in their assumptions that you have to change your calculations based on the color of someone's skin is by default racism. And it's so interesting to see those type of initiatives roll back, especially in the media. And they realized very quickly, I think a lot of people knowing that they voted for Donald Trump and it was a big rejection of all these DEI stuff that Democrats bring with them, the Kamala Harris's of the world that champion things like this, that they said, okay, the tide has turned. We realize what the people want, especially young men, and we kind of need them. So maybe we won't be forcing this anymore if we don't have to, because ultimately maybe no one really wanted it to begin with. Maybe it was just one of those things they were told they needed to do in order to be on the right side, else they would be labeled the racist or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's a couple other ones on here, and I don't even know what they're referring to, but those are the only two that made sense to me. One was LA Times confounding IPO strategy. Don't know. Washington Post AI podcast slop. Those are the last two. That didn't make any sense to me, those last two. Maybe I just don't pay attention in that sense anymore.
Yeah.
Do you think 2026 you're going to see another collaboration between Elon Musk and Donald Trump? Do you think that friendship will get off the rocks and back together? Perhaps we could see another something coming up.
I think they're already on better terms. I don't know if they'll ever be. I don't know if Elon will ever be first buddy again, but
first buddy. Well, they're not going to be working together anymore. They probably realize that might not be the best thing.
Yeah, and I think that I think that Elon Musk still has an interest in what goes on and will, there's things out there that Elon Musk has decided are not good for the country. Woke mind virus, waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think that now that he has decided that, he will be laser focused on taking care of that and pushing, whether it be candidates or policies that do that or that achieve that aim. So I don't see where he wouldn't be involved.
You see Boeing is in the news.
What'd they do?
Boeing just awarded $8.6 billion contract for 25 new F-15 aircraft for the Israeli Air Force.
Oh.
It says the work will be done in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they build the F-15. Is it the F-15 or the F-15EX?
This is the F-15A aircraft they're going to be building. Okay. So the work will be done strictly, it looks like, in St. Louis, expected to be finished by December 31st, 2035. So over the next 10 years, they'll build 25 new F-15A aircraft. $8.6 billion contract. That's huge for St. Louis.
That is huge. Yeah, that puts people back to work now that they've got the strike thing figured out. Yeah, that industry in St. Louis is good. Please bring more industry here.
That's a good contract. Amazon skipped and said we don't need to put our new headquarters. Did they ever build a second headquarters anywhere? I don't think they did they?
No. Was that the one that they were trying to build in New York and then AOC, or was that just a facility?
Yeah, they did a nationwide search. Remember how they were trying to find a second headquarter location? I honestly don't think, I'm trying to remember, was it D.C. where they settled on maybe? But after that went away, I don't think that's had any benefit, if there's been any benefit to that whatsoever. I think St. Louis dodged a bullet because they offered the world, and it would have been a big, there would have been more subsidies going out than benefit coming in, we'll put it that way. Yeah. But Boeing is the real deal. An $8.6 billion contract, that will go a long, long way, which is a good get for St. Louis.
Yep.
I'm Ryan Ranker, filling in for Annie Fry, 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, online at aircomfortservice.com. Okay, so some warm weather over the Christmas holiday, but cold weather setting in after that. Wherever we are right now with the temperature, you want to make sure that your comfort zone is right there where you want it to be. Obviously at home while you're enjoying the holidays and maybe a little time off, but also at work. You need to have your comfort zone solidly in order to get business done. So if you're a business owner, a building manager, operations manager, or an office manager that has recently been told that your HVAC system is in need of repair, you need to call Air Comfort Service. 314-513-0091. Call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation to get a free second opinion on heat exchanger or compressor repairs. Air Comfort Service has provided residential and commercial heating and cooling services for 55 years, and they are the very best at it. If you're looking at that steep repair bill, call 314-513-0091. aircomfortservice.com.
Looking for something smart, soulful, and full of heart? I'm Jen Hatmaker, host of For the Love, the podcast where we talk about what really matters. Love and family, faith and purpose. Every week, I'm joined by incredible guests for honest conversations that invite all of us to live with more intention, more laughter, and more connection. Join us on For the Love wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, we've got the chips, the fancy cheese, the sparkling cider. Oh, and I need to fill up the tank on the way home.
Look at the cart. We haven't even hit midnight yet, and you're already blowing your save money resolution for next year.
I'm not blowing it. I'm being smart. I'm using Upside.
Upside? That cash back app?
Exactly. I just claimed an offer, and just like that, I'm getting cash back on all these groceries. And I'll do the same at the gas station. It's how I earned an extra $250 this year.
Wait, $250?
Yep, that's extra cash I can cash out to my bank or throw onto gift cards to my favorite spots.
Download the free Upside app and start earning cash back now. Use promo code POP for a $10 bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code POP. Make your resolution easy this year. Download the free Upside app today and use promo code POP for an extra $10 bonus on your first purchase.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Today's YouTube live chat poll. Last call for this one. If you want to get in and vote, jump on Annie's YouTube page. Find us. We're streaming live. Vote in the poll. Leave us a comment telling us why you voted the way you voted, and we might read that on air. But we want to know, will anyone actually be prosecuted in the Minnesota fraud scandal? And we've got three options here. The first one is yes, all the top players. The second one is yes, but not the top players. And then the last one is no, there will be no prosecutions. Silk said, Bondi is all hat, no cattle, talks big, gets nothing done of import. So Silk doesn't think that there will be any prosecutions. But Ender says that if I recall correctly, there's already been a decent number of convictions, but they're all small timers. That being said, none of the big time players will be arrested, much less prosecuted. So Ender is yes, but not the top players. So we want to know what you think. Jump on Annie's YouTube page, vote in the poll, and leave us a comment. The time right now is 2:33. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. From Alton to Wildwood, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker filling in. Brad, did you ever go to summer camp when you were a kid?
I think I went to a summer camp once, maybe twice, but it was like a day camp. I didn't stay overnight.
I see. You know, in the movies and television shows, they make it look like every kid has a summer camp experience where they go for a month or two and, you know, it's a life-changing experience and there's camp counselors and you stay in a cabin and you have campfires and, you know, all the fun things that it's only depicted correctly in there.
So the camp for me growing up, that summer camp that you're describing there was Camp Ondasank in southern Illinois. And
did you say Camp Badonkadonk?
Ondasank.
Ondasank, okay.
Yeah, it's in the Shawnee Forest down in southern Illinois. And they would send people around. I went to a Catholic grade school, and they would send people around to these schools, and they'd be like, you need to come there, and blah, 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 blah. And then they would have other kids come up and talk about their experience and what they learned. And I remember listening to that, and I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds kind of cool. And they were talking about how they had like all these different, you know, canoeing and kayaking and all these different things that you could do at this camp. And then like we would talk after the big pep rally or event or whatever, and these upperclassmen, and I say upperclassmen, 7th graders, would tell me about how it's like, oh yeah, there's this monster called the Tekawitha beast, and it will come and drag you out of the thing and pull you out in the middle of the woods and whatever. And I'm sitting there like 4th and 5th grade going, oh, that doesn't sound fun at all. Why do they have this camp here? And so when they asked me if I wanted to go, I took those kids at their word, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'll stay here. And I never went to that. So I did a couple Boy Scout day camps where we would go there and spend the whole day doing cool stuff and then, you know, go home and sleep in my own bed at night, which was great. But that was nice, yeah. Yeah, I was never a fan of overnight. I still don't like camping. I think people worked really hard to get houses. Why would I live in not a house?
When I was younger, we would do Boy Scout camp, and it might be 2 nights. You sleep in the tent, and you get your sleeping bag, and you do all the Boy Scout stuff. And there was a really big campsite in Michigan, Cole Canoe Base, I think.
Okay.
And it was awesome. I remember really enjoying it. But when I was younger, you would watch TV shows, cartoons, movies, and there would always be a fat camp where they would allude someone would go there to lose weight. Did you know fat camps are popular in China right now?
That's on brand.
So adults will pay $1,000 for a 4-week stay, and you sign up for it. And once you're there, you're locked in.
Yeah.
They ain't letting you go. So they basically have you exercise all day. They portion your food. And by the time you're done with that 4-week stay, you're supposed to come out weighing less and healthier. And the thing is, people from other countries come and visit China for these fat camps. And I'm looking at a story that is running down their list of like, there's banned foods. You can't have, fried snacks, dried snacks, ramen noodles. Everything is like stirred vegetables, raw carrots, a little bit of protein, duck for protein, things like that. And people are like, this is great. Tourism. Like, could you imagine taking a month off of work, paying $1,000, and then going and coming back and you're skinny? Like, that seems like a better solution than Ozempic and all these other pens and stuff, don't they?
I don't have the self-control to keep myself from eating all this food and make myself go exercise. What I need is an authoritarian government that I can pay to do this for me.
Exactly.
Take my
They ain't
rights
messing
away.
around.
Don't feed me.
Yeah.
Make me run.
They're going to make you put shoes together.
Yeah, China's like, I got you.
Alibaba camp and stuff, like they're having you like put together clothing with children that are forced to do it. So in China, this is a thing, tourism, like a fat camp tourism.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, I guess it couldn't work here because like what makes it effective is they get total control, and you can't do that here.
Yeah, but you can't leave. Like just literally, you can't leave once you get in.
Have you seen that movie Heavyweights?
I'm sure I did. Is Ben Stiller in it?
Ben Stiller is in it, and it's from the 90s.
He's
and
great.
It's a fat camp, and Ben Stiller plays the counselor.
Why is it that, like, I just thought fat camp was a thing that I was never invited to, and it's like, apparently, did they actually exist? Was it just like a thing that was like a plot point that was made up in movies?
No, I think that they had to have existed. Like, where would somebody come up with that idea if they didn't, like, have something like that already? I don't know how prevalent they were, but there had to have been some.
Anyone listening right now, if you want to chime in on the chat, if you were at a fat camp when you were younger, please let me know.
Yeah, please tell us.
I learn all kinds of things by asking the listeners, stuff like that. Yeah, if you actually were at a fat camp, tell us about it. Or if you considered sending your kids to one, tell us about that too. Like if you had the pamphlets, like you looked up and you filled out one form online, and next thing you know, they sent you 1 million emails. I do Coast to Coast AM. I do 2 to 3 shows a month, and I did a show last Friday, and it was open lines. And someone was talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and them coming door to door. So I opened up the phone and I said, if anyone is on the other side of the door, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you've gone door to door, tell me about your experiences. All kinds of people called in there. So I know there's people listening right now that sent their kids to fat camp. I'm telling you, just send us a message through the live YouTube chat. You know what I learned about Jehovah's Witnesses? And I'll just put this out there. If I am saying something that's not true, I'm basing it off of what people told me. Okay. I don't know from personal experience. So essentially they told me they want you to go door to door for 40 hours a month. That's like your goal.
Wow.
And in order to be baptized, they want you to get 1,000 door-to-door hours in first. Did you know that about Jehovah's Witnesses?
I did not. I knew that door-to-door evangelism was a big part of their faith, but I didn't know that they had like quotas like that.
Quotas, essentially. They don't call it that. But the more you do it, I guess the higher standing you are inside of the church.
Yeah.
And, I was shocked by that. And they told me what it was like, dogs chasing after you, no one answering the door, people yelling at you. They said if you can get a pamphlet in someone's hand once every 50, you're lucky, it seems like. But they put the time in. And the one person said they started it when they were 4 years old. Like, as a little child, they were going with their parents doing all this, getting the hours in. Isn't that something?
That is wild. Like, I've done door-to-door evangelism as part of my church's outreach, and it is it's intimidating to stand on somebody else because you're going to their house and you're invading their peace and their whatever to tell them about Jesus, and people aren't really open to that all that often. And it's like a telemarketer. Cold calling is very difficult. So I've done that. Never been chased by dogs, but a lot of the people are hiding inside or just peeking through the curtains or whatever. If you saw a sign that said no soliciting, you moved on because you wanted to respect their wishes. You didn't ever want to be disrespectful.
Yeah. You know what I found as someone that never answers the door? Like, I could be sitting right by the window and they can knock on the door. I'll look out the window. They'll look at me. I do the same thing with the homeless people. You just shake your head. No, nope. And they get the sign and they leave. You don't have to just like close the blinds and like hit the ground like you're afraid to be seen inside of there.
So I am the opposite. I'm weird. I like a good fight. I like a good debate. So if a religious outreach program comes to my door, or Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, whatever, I will debate with them until they say, okay, we need to leave. I'll tell you where.
No,
I'll tell
where
you.
You going?
Yeah. Oh, we were just getting started. My other thing is too, and these are the people that come, and these people like that part of it was fun. The solar panel salesmen infuriate me. I got home from work one night, and so I pulled up in my driveway, and this guy was walking out from my door, and he walked in front of my truck, in front of my garage door. And I was getting ready to get out of my truck, and he stood right outside my door and wanted to talk to me. And I'm like, you are in between me and my home, and I want to go home, and I don't want to buy your stuff. And when I said, no, thank you, I'm not interested, you wouldn't take no for an answer. And my blood was starting to boil. And it's like, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. So, but they'll be like, well, do you mind telling me why you don't want them? I'm like, yeah, the technology needs room for improvement. We get a lot of hailstorms in the Midwest. Last thing I want to do is have to pay to have these panels taken off, to have roofs replaced, then put back on, and all this other stuff. I'm just not interested in it. Maybe if I move out to the country and I got more space, I might consider it then, but I'm not interested. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And they just won't take no for an answer.
Really? You know, it's funny. You know what you could do is just like pretend you're confusing them with Scientologists. Be like, are you? Wait, I don't understand. So Scientologists are putting solar panels on roofs now? You're a Scientologist, right?
How do these solar panels help me get to heaven again?
Yeah, Xenon. So how does it work again in the Scientology? So I don't get it. I thought you were talking about solar panels, but why does Scientology care about solar panels? And they'll be like, what are you talking about? Until you get to the point where you're so crazy, they realize nothing's going to happen. It's time for them to go. You know, we get the solicitors with those little hoverboards where they go with the hoverboards through the neighborhood. You get those too?
Yeah. Usually in the summer, people getting ready to go to college or something like that. I had an encyclopedia salesman come to my door last summer, which was like,
oh, wow.
You still have those things? My favorite encyclopedia story was whenever I was in like a freshman in high school. So as a freshman in high school, the internet wasn't the thing that it is today. It was just really new. And this guy comes up, and he was from Kentucky, and he was talking about how he needed to sell these things. And he's like, say I live in Kentucky, and I want to figure out how to pronounce the capital of Kentucky. Is it Louisville or Louisville? And my friend looks at him because we're sitting on the porch, and he goes, Frankfurt. It's Frankfurt.
Frankfurt, yeah.
and that time that guy looked at us, and he goes, okay, I'm just going to go. And he packed up his stuff and left.
Apparently you know everything, so I guess these books are not needed here. You know, you can still find those things at thrift stores, but people would buy them. Could you imagine like hauling that everywhere you went and the weight involved with those type of books? Who knows? Maybe it's not a bad idea. Physical media is making such a huge comeback. People want something physical to hold on to in case we get hit with a solar flare, and then we're so dependent on like the internet to find answers for things. They want to have a backup. Same thing with they just don't want to pay for 8 streaming services, so they start buying DVDs again, and they build their own library that way. And they say, at least I can own it, where you can't take it away from me like a digital source could.
Yeah, that to me, that is one of the most frustrating things. Is like streaming. You don't own anything. You don't.
No.
I mean, they've moved to this model with media. They've moved to this model with programs and software on computers. You're basically in a subscription rental service. What is the saying? You will own nothing and like it.
Be happy. Yeah, you'll like it. That's about right. I'm looking at some of the text messages. No one else answers the door either. I'm going through here. Fat people, now they're arguing about fat camp in here too. I'll tell you what, the comments are off the hook right now. So if you're not on the live feed right now, this is where you want to be. All right, we're going to do the poll answer coming up here soon. If you haven't voted yet in the YouTube live chat poll, you better go do it. You only have a couple more minutes. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry, 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
If you're looking for a company that can provide concrete lifting for you to make that concrete that's cracked even, not a trip hazard any longer, consider hiring Home Shield Foundation Repair. Call Matt Hayes at 314-227-9636. That's 314-227-9636 for driveways and sidewalks, walkways, even garage floors, patios, pool decks. For commercial and industrial concrete, Home Shield Foundation Repair can help you solve this problem through a system called polyjacking. They take a polyurethane foam, inject it under the concrete to raise it up, level it out, and they slap a 5-year warranty on it to make sure that you are going to be taken care of and that it's going to last you when you call Home Shield Foundation Repair. Matt Hayes is a great guy. All you got to do is call 314-227-9636. That's 314-227-9636 to have him inspect and determine property repair that is needed. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisor Group. As a family-owned business, we'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We grew up right here in St. Louis, part of a large family, and that's what makes the holidays so special. The things we hold in our hearts, not in our hands. It's the people, family, friends, and personal relationships that grow stronger with the passing of time.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. In the past 39 years, we have become part of many lasting relationships, and we have made a lot of friends in and around St. Louis that just can't be taken away. So, as we turn the page and put yet another year in the books, let's remember to be good to one another. And for those of you who have lost loved ones, our hearts go out to you. Here's hoping next year will bring even more joy and blessings to all of you. And remember the important things to be thankful for. From all of us at the Retirement Advisory Group and from our family to your family, we'd like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Why are you playing this song? Ugh.
I don't know. Take it up with Ethan. He picked the music.
So keep in mind I'm in Michigan. This is the Ohio State song. This is their tune. Hang on, Sloopy.
I did not know that. They play Hang On,
yeah.
Sloopy?
That's their thing. Yeah, it's what they do. So when I hear that, I think, I'll tell you that the Ohio State fans are some of the most savage, rabid, crazy fans. They would go to Philadelphia and look at them and the Eagles fans booing Santa Claus and say, amateurs. And this is minor league compared to what we do.
Philly fans throw
State.
Philly fans throw D batteries at players. Ohio State fans throw car batteries.
Yeah, they say car batteries. They said, I was going to throw this in the Maumee River, but instead I'm going to toss it at my opponents now. Oh, Lake Erie, here it comes. But instead, they're throwing it at their opponents. I know we got a couple more minutes, but can you still vote, or is it too late now to vote?
It's plenty of time to vote.
Okay. Got the coming up here towards the end. Is it close? I don't know. I guess we'll find out when we get there.
You know what? One of them is starting to pull out into the front.
Okay, better go vote now before it's too late. The YouTube live chat poll. So, one last thing. Did you see that a lot of people are upset with the direction of NCAA basketball because they have allowed a 21-year-old former first-round NBA draft pick to go back to college and give him 4 years of eligibility?
Well, how does that work?
So he was drafted at the end of the first round, traded. Doesn't sound like he ever actually signed a contract. So he went to go play overseas. And after that, he said, you know what, since I'm not playing in the NBA, I want to go back to college. So they shopped around, and apparently the NCAA gave the kid a waiver so he can come back and gave him 4 years of eligibility.
So
the coaches are upset about this.
So he signed or didn't sign with the team?
I don't think he ever did sign with the team. So, like, the Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo, a legend in college basketball, slammed NCAA leadership and said that if that's what we're going to do, shame on the NCAA, shame on the coaches too, but shame on the NCAA because coaches are going to do what they can do, I guess. University of Connecticut basketball coach Dan Hurley said Santa Claus is delivering midseason acquisitions. This is crazy. Pretty much all the coaches are sounding off about it and saying this is ridiculous that they would allow.
So
something like that
he's
to happen.
playing this season and it's mid-season.
It sounds that way. So the person's a 21-year-old, James Nagy, a former NBA draft pick, committed to Baylor University, given 4-year eligibility to play for Baylor. Yeah.
I see, like, if he didn't sign, I don't really have a problem with him, going, you know what, I don't want to, I want to come back and I want to go to school. I'm good with that. I wouldn't think that you could just...
I think after you enter the draft, it would be over. But for the sake of time, we got to read these poll results, don't we? Yeah, before we go.
Yeah.
That's a good topic, though.
So the poll is, will anyone actually be prosecuted in the Minnesota fraud case? And right now, with 31 votes, no. With 20% of the votes, yes to top players. But the far and away leader with 49% of the vote is yes, but not the top players. So some people will go to jail, just not the people that are in charge of everything.
All right. A lot of fun working with you, Brad.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by NordVPN.
Numerous studies over the years have said that disagreements about money are the number one source of arguments in a relationship and one of the leading causes of divorce, regardless of income level. Ed Jertson, founder of the Engage Wealth Group in Chicago, says you can avoid that strife by having a stress-free